Yo, 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 yo. What up, what up? Vanity. El Hermanos. How are you guys? I gotta share this out the twatter. What's happening, family? Here we go. Okay, nice. Whoops. My cat's going crazy, dude. He's fucking... That intro, though, damn. Did I do an intro? First time ever live, Let's Read. Well, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Glad to have you. Ember. Wow, right out the gate with a donation with a 5. Thank you, Ember. Says hello, my favorite streamer. Hello, my favorite Ember. How are you? Hola. Hope you had a great day today. Thank you. You too. Yeah, my sleep schedule's beyond fucked. It's a new documentary series on Netflix, Beyond Fucked, starring ex-YouTubers. Let's Read is the sheep? Is that what that is? A sheep? Home invasion stories. Yes, we got 5 home invasion stories. And they're kind of like more along the lines of true crime related stuff.
Hey, listen.
And it should be pretty sick. Michael Small with the 5. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. How are you guys? Yeah, how's everybody doing today? You're playing Pokemon Brilliant Diamond while listening to your live stream, but I hope you are doing good. Thank you. Yeah, I was really curious, like how those were, to be honest with you. My God, yeah, my cat has like the zoomies like really hard. It's so weird. He'll just like arbitrarily decide that he's like, I think I'm insane today. I think today I've just abruptly contracted cabin fever. Cashy, what's up? Anime and weirdness, finally. I can just listen and not have to be at work. It's going to be a great nice. You didn't forget your headphones this time, I hope. At home. Somebody stole them. Nurse Jen from Lexington, Kentucky loves you. Thank you. Thank you for your service, Nurse Jen. Appreciate that. Taking care of the sick folk. You're playing Yeah, how is the new Pokemon? I don't know if I missed somebody talking about it, but I'm curious, you know. Those remakes are cool because it's like you got the nostalgia factor, but then you got the new technologies mixed into it. The voice be rich tonight? Good, good. I'm glad to hear that. Always slightly worried we're gonna have technical difficulties, which I'm not very good at, like fixing on the fly. You just got the remaster of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. It's honestly nostalgic as fucking fun. Nice. Yeah, those, man, I played a lot of Tony Hawk 1 on N64 way back in the day, and then yeah, Tony Hawk 2, I got like a Sega Dreamcast and played Tony Hawk 2 on that. And I felt so much cooler than my cousin because he was playing it on N64, but I was on Dreamcast, which meant the graphics were actually quite a bit better. I guess, like probably twice as good, I guess, because 64 was 64-bit, and then I think Dreamcast was 128 or something like that. It's funny, I guess they don't even measure games and that kind of stuff anymore. Laura Summerfield with a 5 says, boyfriend and I are listening, love your stories, can't wait to hear these. Thank you, Laura. Hope you guys are having a good night. Snuggling in for the evening. Yeah, these should be good. I don't know. I really like doing your mom. Just sorry. I really like doing
Hey,
true crime stuff. How many lives on YouTube, might I ask? Do you mean like how many people are here right now? I think we're almost at 200. 200 folks in the building. Click that like button if you'd be so kind. I don't know if it does anything, but it feels good, right? And you better do it while you can, because you won't be able to click the dislike button anymore. I don't know. Are they actually getting rid of the dislike button? To me, I think that's very odd. Oh god. Yeah, Pradeep's all sorts of wound up right now. He just wants out. He wants to smash into things. I had like some new shoes like that I was using for exercising, and he found those and started ripping them apart. And I'm like, damn, man, you are possessed. Now he's just staring at me with these glowing orange eyes. Indiana horror stories. Yeah, what the? Do we have any Indiana fans here? You just came back from Cuba, Kashi? Shit, what were you doing in Cuba? A little vacay? That sounds amazing. You just started Pearl, and I heard that they brought back mining. Oh, nice. Well, I guess to be honest with you, I don't even know if I played through Diamond and Pearl. I feel like that was like after my time with Pokemon. Yeah, my cat's nuts. He wants out into the garage. I don't even know what the hell. There's like a crawl space he likes to climb in, and maybe I'll open that for him. And then, but I'm also like, you know, if you give, I don't know, if you respond to an animal's like constant like beggings for something, then they just do it all the time. He's slowly walking up, rubbing his body into my legs. The underground mining is the best feature. Is it? Yeah. What does it give you, like resources or something in the game or something like that? Or is it just like a whole nother area to find? Geodude. Barbie with the 10 says, come get your sandwich for fuck's sake, JK. I'm old enough to be your mama. Is that my mom in the chat? It's okay. I will be on my way. There better not be any crust on it, though. Cut diagonally. My friend started working for Cutco Knives. I don't know if you heard of those, but he gave me a whole ass demonstration. And man, those knives are something sharp, let me tell you. Even the, like, I don't know, there was like a butter spreader or something like that comes in the set. And even that can be used to like cut through sandwich, and I was pretty impressed. But the one thing that I wanted to actually maybe get was one of those like K-bar knives, which is like the military ones. Just cause fuck it. You know, sometimes you just need to be like a Army Navy store and just own a bunch of pointless prepper stuff. Michael Small with the 5. Can you do some Thanksgiving horror stories? I love Hall. Oh yeah, if you go back a few videos, there's a whole ass Thanksgiving story video ready to rock for you for this Turkey Day. But please don't tell me you actually cut the crust off. Nah, that would be quite a pain in the arse to do. But anybody's mom who goes to that level to do it, that's next level attention to detail. That's what's gonna get your kid to be an astronaut, most likely, is getting rid of that crust. You want a butterfly knife collection? That would be dope. Ebola, what up? What's poppin'? Did you change your name? I see the profile picture. Maybe. Why do you always stream when it's 4 a.m. here? Because I know it's your bedtime. Unless you're just waking up. Talking about sharp knives, I was cutting an onion and cutting my finger wasn't fun. That's what I was wondering, like with those Cutco knives, they just like slice through anything like butter. Like it's kind of like insane how sharp they are. Raven, yeah, crust is the reason you're not. I'm telling you, that crust, it gets like stored in the frontal cortex, and all of those astronaut equations just can't make it through. They get caught on the bread. Joel, would you be able to sign my samurai sword? Hell yeah. Juan Wick. I'd love to see a Juan Wick movie. Taking on the cartel that killed his pup. Michael Small with the 5. So are you going to read tonight? I am, my good sir. On screen you can see a little bit of a timer. Basically the routine that we go through on streams. I feel like we get a lot of new people, which is great. You know, I'm sure there's new people come through all the time. But basically what I do is just kind of BS with people for a while, let people roll in, get the notification for streams for about 20 minutes, and then we pop off and get to the recording. And just so anybody who's new is aware, I am recording as I'm reading, so I kind of have to get it perfect. So if I mess up, I will have to not go all the way back, but just go back like a sentence so I can keep going. Do I drink coffee? Damn right. I get addicted sort of to that feeling of anxiety that I get from like really heavy caffeinated beverages. I don't like it. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause it's like, you know, like it's weird. It's like the only time I get like anxiety is whenever I drink a shit ton of caffeine. And it's strange because it's like the one thing in my life where I'm like, holy shit, like your brain and how you feel is just like so heavily influenced based on like chemicals that are just fluttering around in there, whether that's like cortisol, stress chemicals, I guess, that get released with coffee drinkage. Because you know what I mean, like it's like I'll drink a shit ton of caffeine all at one time, freaking red alert, you know, and or like a Bang Energy or some shit, and like wonder to myself, why do I feel like this? How did I get this way? Why am I so anxious? And like, oh yeah, maybe it's because I just fucking cranked like 500 milligrams of caffeine hard lined into my artery. Joe, just get your nails done and you'll feel all better. If I had to like sit there and after drinking like a fucking Bang, that would be a challenge run right there. Drink a Bang Energy drink and then just try to keep your hands still so they can do your nails. You still have sips of iced coffee, but no more brewed coffee. I always feel like coffee the most when it's hot. Like when it's cold, I don't really feel it for some reason. Maybe it's like because it dilates your vessels or something. Poop in the stinky. Hell yeah, that's what I'm saying. How long am I streaming today? I would say average streams, depending on how long the stories are and stuff. Like, I would say sometimes they can go from like 3 to 4 hours. So I'll probably be on till like after midnight at the earliest. What's my favorite creepypasta story? I don't know. I feel like I read a lot of them back in the day, but like, or a decent amount, but I wasn't like, Mr. Creepypasta level of like where that was my main content all the time. It was mainly these true scary stories that I had read all the, as my niche. So I feel like I'm not like super knowledgeable about most of them. But I remember that one that I read was like called like Favor for a Favor. That was a fun one to read way back in the day. My voice is actually awesome. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, some people say that it's, it's like going between Jekyll and Hyde where I'm like chit-chatting and then I'll go into the spooky voice. Would you rather know when you die or how you will die? Well, I feel like if you figured out how you're gonna die, I guess when. Yeah, I'd like to know when. That would be better. But then it would be really scary if like all of a sudden it said like next week and you're like, well, it's probably not from fucking old age. Astro says, thanks for Secede. That was a beautiful rabbit hole to fall into. Yeah, that album that I sent or I posted there is really good. It's actually one of his unreleased albums, funnily enough. But the number one that that everybody like gets on is the Trishasla album. If you can look up his discography, that's like one of my favorite ones ever. I actually have it on CD and vinyl. And that album was like what opened my eyes to sort of like the, what's it called? Thing called IDM music, intelligent dance music, even though it's kind of sounds pretentious, but that's just what it's called. And stuff like that, and Boards of Canada. I jumped into that back in like 2011 after hearing that album, and it's just, I love that kind of music where you don't even need lyrics to tell like a really strong story. Aaron Wilson with the 2 says, I'm not late today, yay. Good. You are not tardy. You won't have to go to the tardy corner. Herlinda, thank you. You wouldn't want to know either. I feel like it would make my life more miserable just thinking about it all the time. Well, that's what I was wondering. I was like, okay, if I'm going to die at that point, would it make you kind of feel like less inspired to, get into action? Or would you feel like, okay, I have till, 2062 or something like that to get grooving. I better figure my shit out. Or maybe if it was really far away, you might like think that you don't need to do, I don't know. Maybe it's better not to know any of that shit. Listening from England, it's just after 2 a.m. and it's time for beans on toast. You listen to my podcast during work on Spotify. I wish there were more. I know a lot of people do. I definitely have been in the sort of deliberation phase of wondering, should I contemplate doing weekly podcasts? You know what I mean? My own voice ever make me go to sleep? I never really tried it. I think I remember one time, I was at like a cabin with friends and I was listening to, or maybe it was before I went there, but I was listening to just some paranormal stories. And it was like, I don't know, I was scaring myself because I'm like, Jesus, like, why do people like to listen to this shit? That's spooky, like, ghost stories are scary as fuck. Haters with the 2 says, finish comforting to a friend who got cheated on. Oh shit, sorry about that. Yeah, that's just fucked. I've had a friend who's had that happen to him like multiple times. And even though he's like one of the nicest guys ever and like has like the body of a Greek god, like not even joking, like just every reason to be like confident as hell. It's almost like because he was like, this was his perspective on it. He was like, I was like, why did they cheat on you though? I don't understand. And he's like, I think it was because I was like too available, you know what I mean? Or like too present for them or something. And where they almost felt like they could just do whatever they want and then get away with it afterwards or whatever, because he was so forgiving about just everything. And granted, I think when those things would happen, like they would break up or whatever, but I was like, that's an interesting like take on it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, imagine you find a really good person and then you're like still just not happy, you know what I mean? So you just, you take for granted their, I don't know, how good they are or whatever, and cheat on them. But anyways, to be cheated on from his perspective, it sounded like it was, it really fucked up his, sense of trust and all that kind of stuff. So that really sucks, Elise Couture with the 5 says, you, Bailey Sarian, Observe, and Mr. Balin are the few folks who I follow regularly these days who go for interesting and unknown stories. Nice, that's awesome. I appreciate you placing me in the ranks of those good folk. Thank you. Yeah, let's read. Why do people subscribe to me? I'm too scary. You're a billionaire and super depressed. Your stories help me. Are you really a billionaire? I wouldn't be surprised. Some people get lately I feel like I've been becoming billionaires off of crypto and shit. But I could see, like, you know, billionaires getting depressed, but that would be a weird, that would be such a weird, such an interesting existence, you know? What do you do when you have, like, more money than you can actually spend in a lifetime? I mean, I guess that's where people get into, like, philanthropic work, where they, like, try to influence reality with their moolah. All right, my friends. We have arrived. Is Joel back? Joel is back. Was I ever gone? I don't remember. All right. Boop, 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 boop. Nice. That was a perfect transition. I have to, like, on the music thing, I have to, like, slowly drag it down, like, one notch by notch, so it doesn't sound, like, too abrupt. What's the difference for you as a creator between a viewer with YouTube Premium or just a regular users? Well, Premium, from what I've been told, or from what YouTube says, is that, like, when you watch my stuff on Premium, you get to skip over advertisements, which is great. And then I'm not sure exactly how it works, but I think what they were saying is that, like, based on the sort of proportion of ads that you skip, we get a cut of your premium membership or something to YouTube, which is great because, yeah, premium viewers do really assist the channel as far as, like, you know, revenue goes and that kind of thing. So that's always awesome. Why do his and other narrators' videos keep disappearing? What do you mean? Give me the... Oh, actually, we're just starting the live stream, so no worries. But yeah, that is the kind of unfortunate thing I've noticed with live streams, is that, like, notifications consistently, like, won't be handed out to people till, like, the end of the stream, which I think is just, like, a really illogical thing. Now granted, I think in their mind... Oh, hey, Liz. I think in their mind, they think to themselves, like, well, we don't want to bother people with too many notifications because, you know, it could cause them to unsubscribe and stuff. But I'm like, so they try to keep it like a slow trickle of consistent sort of movement, or, you know, consistent number of people there. But I don't know. It just seems really illogical compared to, like, Twitch, where, like, people get notified instantaneously via their email or text message or in the app themselves, you know, like, hey, so-and-so's live. And then it, like, you know, they'll get right to it, you know what I mean? Notify my mom that we're dating now. Wait, me and you, or you're dating my mom? What's going on? Because she is happily married. Haters with the 2 says, I've been awake for 22 hours so far. Record is 40. Nice. What's the plan with that? Are you working on something, or are you just seeing how you feel? Been playing Pokemon all weekend. That's awesome. Yeah, Pokemon. I'm happy to hear people having a good time with Pokemon. You never missed a single stream notification. That's good. Yeah, I mean, if you guys haven't, you know what I mean, already, it does. The one thing that really helps is, like, and I kind of, like, sort of wonder to myself, sorry to talk about all this meta stuff about YouTube, but there's this one thing that I always kind of, like, wondered. I noticed, like, when I stopped streaming for this, like, summer, that my views actually went up. Because, and my theory is that, like, because not a lot of people, like maybe 5,000 to 10,000 people who came through didn't really hear the stories that were going to be coming out the next day, because these home invasion stories will be coming out tomorrow at 7 p.m. normal, you know, EST for the normal release schedule. But, like, there's a part of me that sometimes wonder, and I don't know if you guys feel this way, but, like, have you ever, like, listened to these stories here, seen the notification for, like, the actual video come out, and just been like, well, I heard those during the live stream, I don't really have any interest. And then, so if you're one of the various few that get notified, and you don't go see, and you don't go watch the video immediately, it tells YouTube's algorithm that like, oh, well, let's not send that out to as many people or whatever. You know what I mean? Blue Rooster with the 5. Dank Daddy. Hello, Blue Rooster. How are you? What's poppin'? I don't know. But so if you guys are able to hit that notification bell and you are able to check out new videos right when they come out, the cool thing is it like lets YouTube know, okay, people are into it. Let's send it out to more people. Let's suggest it to new people, which then gets new subscribers. And it's sort of like a snowball effect, you know what I mean? Also, I watched some clips from me and my friend were trying to make a meme where like in the remember in the butterfly effect with Ashton Kutcher, like whenever something would change in the timeline, and then all of a sudden like his brain would be like completely changed and manipulated to have all the memories of what had been changed in the timeline, and then he'd be like, and then like he would have like a nosebleed and stuff. But my idea for a meme was that like whenever somebody becomes like a dad or like a new dad, he just like suddenly gets imparted all of like the dad knowledge in the universe, you know what I mean? Like me when I become a new dad and imparted all the knowledge of the dad universe, or I don't know. But anyways, then he's just like and like nose bleeding and stuff. But then I ended up going back and watching some clips from that old Butterfly Effect movie, and holy shit, the acting was so bad. Do you ever go back and watch like an old movie and you're just like, what the fuck, man? This is like corny as hell. Like whenever we watched, me and my friends watched that October Sky movie recently, I'm like, man, all of this is just like filled with like trope after trope. Oh, but see this, yeah, I think, yeah, no, honestly, it may be timing because like right now it's Sunday. I think Sunday streams do a little bit better because everyone's just chilling. It's a little bit later right now, you know, so everyone's like getting ready for work or whatever tomorrow and watching Game of Thrones. I don't know. What do you do on Sundays? Claudia, hello. Welcome. Yeah, so we're going to kick off these stories. These are 5 home invasion stories, kind of in the realm of true crime-ish, you know? So, hope you like them. Oh wait, I actually have to click on the story to open it. Oh, well this one's not. I thought that they were true crime related. Okay, maybe some of them are. My bad. Back when I was locked up, I read a pamphlet on creative writing. I remember how it said you have to create sympathy between the reader and the subject. If the reader doesn't somehow like the person they're reading about, if they can't find any redeemable qualities, they won't root for them to succeed. And here's where my story is going to fall down. You see, I am not a nice guy. At least I wasn't. Because back in the day I was a career criminal. One who specialized in burglaries, armed robberies, and most pertinent to this story, home invasions. Violent home invasions can be ridiculously profitable, and compared to banks, offices, or warehouse spaces, security is minimal. What's more, me and my firm worked here in England, so it's not like we had some pesky Second Amendment to deal with. Yeah, you still had to worry about new Dexter Season 9, Episode 3? They still have Dexter? Dude, there's so many shows that are still going on. Is the fucking, Walking Dead still on television? I feel like the zombies would die of old age by this point. Yeah, you still had to worry about have-a-go heroes with their baseball bats and kitchen knives, and I can tell you from personal experience that bread knives leave horrific scars. But it's unless you were daft enough to target some rich farmer, you could be safe in the knowledge you wouldn't be bringing a knife to a gunfight. On top of that, we carved out a very specific niche when it came to who we targeted, because the people we'd go for were either those with no legal recourse, drug dealers, loan sharks, dodgy builders firms, anyone who'd have a lot of dirty cash on hand, or anything valuable they wouldn't be able to report stolen. But please, don't get into your heads that I was some weird Robin Hood vigilante, robbing the filthy rich and giving it away. Yeah, we went after heroin and crack dealers, but we got them at home, where their families slept. We threatened their kids. Little kids, man. We put knives to their arms and legs, told their dads we'd chop them up into little pieces if they didn't give up the cash, or the coke, or whatever we were after. Like I said, we were top scumbags. But here's where the incentive to read on comes in, because I'm sure many of you will be pleased to hear that we got what was coming to us. In fact, I might not live to see 20... Oops. About The Walking Dead ending beating a dead horse at this point. Oh yeah, is it over, or... Oh, it's in its final season. I just feel like, I don't know, I admire shows that just have like a vision, you know? Like, I know like Walking Dead was based off of a comic book or something like that. Hey, Ram Beltran has become a member of the Buttersock Cult. Welcome, welcome, Ram. And now you also have access, I don't know if any of the mods are here, but if a mod is here, you can grab the link to @RAM with the bonus content playlist. I do that once a month for members. Still slightly frustrated about the people whenever I posted about like bonus content, because it was like, I think there was like maybe a few hundred of you that were like members, you know what I mean? And then I was like, okay, I want to provide something for them at least like once a month, you know? So I started doing bonus content and then talked about it in my community tab, and like 3 different people were like, that's it, I'm unsubscribing. And it's just like, what? Why? Just like, if I wouldn't even have told you, you wouldn't even been mad about this. Like, I'm trying to help people who are like, you know, give a service or give back to the people that are, you know, subscribing. So whatever, everyone's, I mean, there's so many people on Earth. It's kind of, where they all come from? What the hell? Like I said, we were top scumbags. But here's where the incentive to read on comes in, because I'm sure many of you will be pleased to hear that we got what was coming to us. In fact, I might not live to see 22. Haters with the 2 says, based on that scratch, there's an 86% you have a beard. I hope so. I hope I do. Maybe I was scratching somebody else's beard. You never know. Or maybe Pradeep has like very, very coarse hair. Rugax with the 5. Let's read. What's the fluff happened to I spelled? Oh, okay. Oh yeah. I need to change another thing, but I don't know. I shut it down. It was pretty much dead for the most part. Never really used it as of late. And then also a lot of them, I mean, there was many times where in streams, whenever I would tell people about the Discord, like, please, if you come to the Discord, please don't be, you know, a dramatic individual. But I don't know, just Discord drama and interactions between people. It's like you would consistently have people bring you issue, like, I have an issue with so-and-so because of politics, or I have an issue with so-and-so, you know, this and that. And, you know, it's just not a fun experience to like have to micromanage everybody else's, like, I guess immaturities maybe, or something like that, you know. So I just thought, might as well just let this thing die. No big deal though. You've been listening to your shows for months now, and it's the least I can do to support all of you. All the best from Mexico. Thank you, Ram. Hope things are going well in Mexico. Karu, yeah, of course I remember you. How are you? In fact, I might not live to see 2022, and to explain why, we have to go all the way back to around early April of 2015, when a very exciting bit of information made its way through the grapevine to us. So, our little firm had 4 blokes in it. Me, who did the lion's share of the planning, Kev, the driver, Sean, who was basically the muscle, but definitely had his head screwed on too, and Phil, who brought in the jobs, and who was the closest thing we had to a leader. Phil comes down to the pub one day, and we can tell right away he's got something on his mind. He's all smiles, just orders a Red Bull, and when he sits down in the booth, he's practically rubbing his hands with glee. He then tells us that he had a mate that drove minicabs for a living, and over the previous month, he'd gotten 5 different jobs driving these gorgeous young Eastern European girls out to this big house in Surrey. Is that how you say it's Surrey? Surrey. I have to look that up real quick. Surrey. Okay, sweet. Galadriel, thank you. Thank you. Good to see you. Am I going to do more Let's Not Meet stories? Yeah, that'll be Wednesday's videos, the Let's Not Meet, like scary Reddit stuff. Slurry. Okay. He gotten 5 different jobs driving these gorgeous jobs. Fuck. He then tells us that he had a mate that drove minicabs for a living, and over the previous month, he'd gotten 5 different jobs driving these gorgeous young Eastern European girls out to this big house in Surrey. Clandon Park House, he said its name was. The kind of place you'd call a stately home if it was under the care of the National Trust. But this one wasn't. It was still very much under private ownership, and whoever that owner was seemed to be in the business of bringing some very beautiful but very vulnerable young women there. Only, they never seemed to leave, as this minicab driver said he never once drove anyone back. He dropped them off, but no one, not from his cab firm anyway, went back to pick them up. This really made our ears perk up. Human trafficking rings don't normally keep a lot of cash on hand, as it's all digital these days, but if one was based on some big old mansion... Haters with it too says, will Pradeep get a girlfriend or is he taken by you? Oh, he's got a girlfriend. I don't know where she is, but it's this really soft blanket that he likes to have his way with from time to time. I forget her name. He told me one time. Blanky. All right. Anyways. Wow. Yeah, we're almost back up to 5 hundo. It's kind of funny, like if I stream more often, maybe it's a Sunday. I shouldn't focus on the numbers though. Should do dark web stories. Yeah. Those are infrequent to come across, I feel like, because most of them are just kind of like corny or fake or whatever, but we shall see. Dandelion Doll, hello, hello. Human trafficking rings don't normally keep a lot of cash on hand, as it's all digital these days, but if one was based on some big old mansion type thing, But if one was based in some big old mansion type thing, there had to be some stuff in there with a very high resale value. I don't know why I'm struggling with this sentence. Human trafficking rings don't normally keep a lot of cash on hand, as it's all digital these days, but if one was based in some old big mansion type thing, there had to be some stuff in there with a very high resale value, if you catch my drift. Phil then told us he'd asked his mate to keep his ear on the ground, basically to make sure something dodgy was going on before we hit the place. Otherwise, dodgy? Wait, make sure something dodgy was or wasn't going on before. But otherwise told us to be on standby. What could be our biggest job yet. Okay. Phil then told us that he'd asked his mate to keep an ear on the ground, basically to make sure something dodgy wasn't going on before we hit the place, but otherwise told us to be on standby by what could be our biggest job yet. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, we get 2 more pieces of... Ooh. 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 Blue Rooster, holy shit. Damn, homie. With the 50 says, hey, thanks for all your work, sir. Favor for a favor is my all-time favorite. Yeah, that one was fun to record. I got to do like a leprechaun accent or something for it. And it just, I don't know, it was just like the voice I had envisioned for that character. And it just, it worked out perfectly. But Blue, thank you for your kind generosity there. I really appreciate it. Appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Get my twerking muscles worked back up. Shit. Oh, yeah. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, we get 2 more pieces of info down the tube. Whatever was going on at Clarendon Park was definitely something dodgy. The minicab driver had made 2 more trips there over the past few weeks. One of the girls he gave a lift to was definitely a working girl. You'd think this would be the green light for us. If we hit the place around the same time as one of these little visits, the bloke might think it was linked to the girl. Maybe the gang running her wanting... What? Maybe the gang running her wanting... Oh. Sabrina, thank you. 100K sub special in mine. I think I did something for 100K. Did I do something for 100K? I think it was Blue Rooster with a 5 says what? Wait, did I not? What do you mean what? I'm confused. Say what again? No, I don't know. I'm confused what the what means. But thank you for 5 again.
Hey, listen.
Thanksgiving already passed for us? You already had it? Are you that far in the future? Doing the accents, yeah. Sometimes I don't have a lot of confidence in my accents, but I would like to get decent at them. It'd be fun. Barbara, thank you. Is it Salima? Salima Lina Ruiz with the 5 says, Joel, when will we get a face reveal to put your beautiful voice and face together? P.S. Love you. Thank you. We'll have to see. We will have to see. I just have to basically it's kind of like the Infinity Gauntlet, where I have to compile different parts of my face together to really make it. So far I definitely have a mouth. That's for certain, which is great. 100K special, wouldn't that be 715? Yeah, a little late. But I definitely did do something for 100K back in the day. I think it was related to a Dr. Seuss sort of dark animation. I don't know if you guys remember that one. Sort of like a motion comic. I think that was with Yeah Man TV back in the day. It didn't get as many views as I would have liked it to, but it was fun to do. Be like a VTuber, to be honest. What, he's actually an astronaut with a skull now. Yeah, how do you do a VTuber type situation? Your kid just walked up and hit you with a wiffle ball bat. Good. Gotta keep you on your toes. Gotta be ready. How well they would do during a domestic insurgency. That's a lot of pressure on someone to be your friend. I assume that pretty much means none of us qualify. Make them come to Comic-Con, yeah. Yeah, if you want to see me, you got to go to Comic-Con. Wonder if are they gonna have one of those this year or next year or whatever. The minicab driver. Sorry guys, I got sidetracked here, but you'd think that would be okay. We'll just go there. You'd think this would be the green light for us. If we hit the place around the same time as one of these little visits, the bloke might think it was linked to the girl. Maybe the gang running her, wanting more than they were owed, and we'd potentially be off the hook. But the second bit of info came with a warning. The minicab driver didn't think we should go ahead with the job, and this is why. The second time he'd driven a girl up, she hadn't been nearly as excited as the rest of them. He'd said in the past the girls knew they were in for a payday, being driven out to a big posh house in the middle of nowhere. Maybe she'd get a tidy tip or something, maybe pinch a set of diamond earrings, maybe a bit of both. But the last one seemed different. When she got into the minicab, she didn't seem happy or excited. She seemed very, very anxious. When the Oh my god! Ooh, 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 That's the cheeks. That's the cheeks clapping together on the twerk. Got a lot of control there. Blue Rooster, thank you for another 50. This time with a very cryptic message to go along that says I. Blue, I hope you're doing okay. I'm getting worried about you with these messages. But thank you, my friend. Thank you. No, seriously, that's nuts. Haters with the 123. Thank you, haters. Joel will never admit to it, but he's hot. Hot AF. Too hot to trot. Oh no, the cheeks. They're destroyed. Make it clap with no hands, as they say. Okay, but the last one seemed different. Oh yeah. When the driver tried to make small talk, she wasn't having any of it. And then at one point, right as they're doing about 60 miles an hour on a busy motorway, she undoes her belt, opens the back door, and just throws herself out of the car. Her phone's the ambulance. He phones the ambulance, my bad. JJ Pearson with the $2 says, God bless America. Thank you, JJ. I certainly hope he does. And Blue Rooster with the 5 says, did you just ignore me? No. Wait, is he not? I don't understand. Blue. I'm so confused. I'm gonna type in chat. I feel bad. I have to like at him in the chat because I can't like. I've been responding to everything. And I promise I'm not ignoring you. My cheeks are clapping every time you're throwing bones, my dude. Maybe it's just trolling. I don't know. Or maybe it's cutting out or something like that. I don't think it's cutting out. Yeah, there might. I mean, maybe there's an issue with YouTube's system or something. I promise you, I would never be rude like that to ignore somebody. Do a poll. No, I think the poll would probably overwhelmingly say people would like to see what my face looks like. Yeah, sorry, Blue. Let me just add him again. Just say sorry. Maybe there's a. I apologize. I don't really know. Maybe it's like the time, because sometimes with the streams, and I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but like sometimes the stream, like people will, they'll hear it like after the fact. Like some people will be hearing it like in real time, but then I'll see other people comment stuff in the stream that I said like, 30 minutes ago or something like that.
Hey, listen.
So like maybe it donates, but then like, and that goes through, but then like he might not hear me responding to it till like, you know what I mean, like after. So I JJ Pearson with the 2. So who else in Minnesota? Oh yeah, it's probably cold up there, huh? Yeah, I'm not looking forward to winter. Like if you're on that night shift sleep, waking up whenever it's dark out is like the worst feeling ever. JJ Pearson with the 2 says you didn't. Yeah, here's that. Sorry, thank you, JJ. Yeah, I think that honestly, I think there's just a delay on there. I would never purposely ignore somebody for anything, really. You know what I mean? Especially if they donated, that would be very rude of me. Yeah, there might be just be behind, but I don't know if anybody is friends with him IRL or something, and just let him know, or no big deal. Well, I'm sure that it will be caught up there, but I do apologize. He didn't hear anything. It might be. Sorry, just to address it.
Hey, listen.
JJ with the 5 says hola, JJ. The stream is wonky. Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, sorry about that. Hopefully it'll catch up for him here whenever he gets that. It's a bit of a misunderstanding. Venus, did we just start? We kind of did, about an hour ago almost, but, oh, there's Hawk. What's up, Hawk? Yeah, it's just a latency issue. Sorry about that, guys. There's Coco. Hi, Coco. He phones the ambulance, then circles back around to meet them, and was there when they put her on the trolley and put her in the back, dead as a doornail. He said the whole thing scared the life out of him. Said that he couldn't stop thinking about what the girl was so scared over. Said he couldn't stop thinking about what had that girl so scared over her little date up at Clarendon. If he had to guess, he'd say something nasty was going on up there, something that might make any potential jobs very, very messy. And we didn't do messy. We did fast, violent, in-and-out jobs. Jobs? What? Alkus Uluru with the 10 said, Minnesnotan here. Here's not feeling the cold. Hope you're not feeling the cold like we are. Love your content. Yeah, what is let's see. Temperature, Minnesota. 22 degrees. Good God, that is chilly. It's, yeah, I think it's definitely in the 30s here. Usually it gets like its lowest in like February. February is like the worst winter time frame around here. He phones the ambulance, then circles back around to meet them, and was there when they put her on the trolley and put her in the back, dead as a doornail. He said the whole thing scared the life out of him. Said he couldn't stop thinking about what had that girl so scared over her little date up at Clarendon. If he had to guess, he'd say something nasty was going on up there, something that might make any potential jobs very, very messy. And we didn't do messy. We did fast, violent, in-and-out jobs a good'n. What the fuck is this sentence? We did fast, violent, in-and-out jobs a good'n. I don't really get that phrase. Wreck-It Ralph with the 10 says, keep up the great work, dude. Can't wait for winter. Yeah. I'm like the complete opposite. Like, my friends just moved down to Florida. And I'm just really jealous of them. Because they don't have to deal with that bullshit.
Hey, listen.
Asa George with the 5 says, can't ever get enough of you, Joel. Thank you for your consistency and releases too. You're welcome. Thank you, George.
Hey,
Appreciate
listen.
that. Yeah, somebody just texted me asking, do you ever just think of Yellowstone? That was funny. Sometimes, I guess. I don't know. Is Yellowstone supposed to just explode at some point? Okay. Can you imitate the Chill's voice? I can do it from time to time. Okay. I need to get focused. I ever think it's just the Grand Canyon. David De La Rosa with the 5 says, hey buddy, awesome work. Do you like the band Creed? You know, I did listen to a lot of Creed, I guess, like growing up, because they were always on the local, like, alternative rock station that was on all the time. My one old roommate, he used to love like singing like Creed and like buzz ballad songs from the 90s and stuff. Those were pretty legit. They were funny too. I mean, there was those like 90s bands, man. A lot of them were so depressing, but they were really talented. I feel like you don't really, I don't know, it's really strange, like with music nowadays, as far as like what you see in the sort of like limelight. They used to sort of like share a presence, I guess, with like bands like Creed, Incubus, and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like within the realm of like MTV, and, you know, these are the popular bands. Now those still exist, but they're kind of like more on an independent existence, like finding their stuff on Spotify or YouTube or wherever. But now it's like all you kind of get as like the big faces that get shoved down your throat all the time is like, I don't even know, what is it, like, you know, you got like Billie Eilish and various other ones that are like, you know, Bruno Mars, you know, just the people that are kind of like made in a lab, you know, and then like specifically curated and advertised to you in all facets of reality. But I feel like those like in-between artists that are like still really popular, like it's almost like there's no like middle ground. It's just like the people that like really like the specific niche stuff, and then like the ultra popular people, and then that like perform at the fucking Super Bowl or some shit, you know what I mean? And we didn't do messy. We did fast, violent, in and out jobs. We should have just called the whole thing off, but Phil had his mind made up about the place, and since he told the other lads that we might be able to retire on the proceeds, their minds were made up too. Then, when we got the news of the vault, it was go time. It had looked like we were just going for the jewelry and the antiques, but when some electrician gave up some info in exchange for a few $100, we had a definite target, and it was all hands to the pump. I used to work as a handyman assistant, and prepping for a home invasion was a lot like prepping for one of those jobs. You assemble the tools you need, sort out a van, make sure everyone knows the job, then you drive out to the desired destination at the desired place and time. It's quiet too, not like when you're shopping around for a clean shooter, thinking every second person is an undercover copper. I can just pop into B&Q, pick up a sledgehammer and zip ties, and I'll even get a smile from the checkout girl on the way out. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The jobs, on the other hand, not so simple. And the one at Clarendon Park was the hardest of the lot. The next twist came from when we found out that we'd be going in during the day. If you're thinking home invasion during daylight hours, you must be mad. I thought the exact same thing. I asked Phil if he'd banged his head or something because the idea of hitting the place at bloody lunchtime was just barmy. Barmy. Is that a phrase? Barmy? Got a Pez with the 5 says, Joel, I was napping and no call when the stream started. You have been deducted spinal privileges for 1 week. Also, your shirts are all now schmedium. Schmedium? Wait, like on, like my own personal ones or the, what's it called? The merch. Like if that would be really weird if merch, like you only had the option for schmediums. That wouldn't make any sense. But yeah, normally I just knock on your door, I kick down the door, roll you out of bed, right to the computer. I'll do a home invasion next time to make sure you know. And Turbid H2O has become a mischievous dog and a member of the Buttersock Cult. Thank you and welcome. You may now redeem your bonus content. If you go into the description, you can find where the bonus content playlist is. It's pretty legit. Barbie with the 10 says, Joel, not to be a downer, but really thank you. You and a couple others have literally saved my life since I lost my son to mental illness. I'm sorry to hear that, Barbie. Yeah. Well, we're here for you, you know. I know that is, you know, mental health issues is something that's people within the horror community are relatively aware of, you know, and honestly, the horror community people are very, very supportive of those types of things that people go through. So, yeah, always happy to be there for someone struggling with that. I asked Phil, yeah, banged his head. Oh yeah, Barmy. I asked Phil if he'd banged his head or something because the idea of hitting the place at bloody lunchtime was just barmy. Phil told me to trust him, that he'd done the research, the scout. What is this word? Resi? That he's done the resi. Done the recce. I've done the recce, the process of getting information about enemy forces or positions by sending out small groups of soldiers or by using aircraft. Interesting. Schick, you're pondering the orb? Perfect. Who up pondering the orb? Phil told me to trust him, that he'd done the recce, or the scouting, and the place was heavy with security at night, whereas during the day, there was a changeover of guard shifts at exactly 3 p.m. This was when the guards would be at their sloppiest, which gave us our time to strike. Phil reckoned that we could get in, have the lead fella open the vault for us, then be out again in exactly 12 minutes, with millions in cash, jewelry, and whatever else they had hidden in that thing. I'll have to admit, hearing about the vault turned me right back onto the job. I've been worried about the whole incident with that call girl in the car, but maybe that was just totally unrelated. Maybe the girl was as mad as a box of frogs and was always going to do something like that. Besides, it was all talk of one last job and we'll be set for life, and any of those little doubts in the back of our mind just dematerialized. I suppose I've kept you in suspense long enough at this point. I suppose you all just want to know what happened, what went wrong, why I went to prison, and why my life is now in the toilet. Well, it started with the vault. Everything was going perfectly to plan. They obviously didn't expect anyone to actually try and rob the place during the daytime, and the fact that we rolled up right as some gardener bloke turned up to trim the hedges made the help think that we were just part of his crew. She found out pretty quickly how that wasn't the case. When Sean broke her collarbone with one swing of this Jesus. Anyone read any good books lately? Not me. She found out pretty quickly how that wasn't the case when Sean broke her collarbone with one swing of his hammer. We managed to grip the head security bloke, who was right where we wanted him to be during the shift changeover, and although he initially insisted that he couldn't get the vault open, threatening to scoop his eye out with the sharp end of a claw hammer soon had him remembering the code. We were expecting lockboxes full of priceless jewelry, maybe some gold bullion. Bullion? What the fuck is bullion? Bullion. Where was that? Threatening to scoop his eye. Remember? Oh yeah, gold bullion. 1 second. Bouillon. Oh, okay. Clear, thin broth? No. Wait, what? Bouillon? Nutritious liquid and excrescence of a horse's frush. What the fuck is this? I don't even know. I don't fucking... Bouillon. Is it bouillon? Wait, what is... I have no fucking clue, because, like, the definite... hold on a second, let me just go for it. It's annoying as hell. Bouillon. Okay, yeah, we'll just say bouillon. I don't fucking know. We were expecting lockboxes full of priceless jewelry, maybe some gold bullion, painting, I don't know, rich people stuff. What we found is something unbelievable. I use the word unbelievable because, out of all the people I've told, only one person has actually believed me to be telling the truth. But it is the truth when I saw that. Favorite book series is The Coiling Dragon and Charlements is about an alternate world where Satan is the good guy and angels are bad guys. Also, it's a harem type of book. A harem type of book? What's that about? I use the word unbelievable because out of all the people I've told, only one person who actually believed me tell the truth, but it is the truth. When I saw that when we... What is it? But it is the truth when I saw... Oh. But it is the truth when I saw what it was when we opened that door. What we found was a mix between a prison and a hospital. It was completely sterile, with gowned up and masked up nurses screaming when they saw us walk in with our balaclavas and weapons. There was one main room, what looked like a kind of lobby, and 6 smaller cells jutting off from it. We figured that there might be something valuable in the cells, so we went to see what was in there, and I still remember Kev gasping when he saw that it was women. They had a woman locked up in each of these little rooms, and every single one of them was pregnant. The hospital staff or the wardens, whoever they were, they ran off into another part of the hospital and sealed the door. I doubt we couldn't have gotten the door open, but we weren't really in the mood to try at that point. We realized that there had been a horrible mistake. Yes, there was obviously something valuable in here, but it wasn't anything we could launder or resell. I don't know what exactly was going on, but you just got this sense that something terrible was happening, and this was confirmed when one of the girls got up out of bed, waddled towards the cell door, which was made of some kind of clear plastic, and began banging on it. I haven't got a clue what language she was speaking. It sounded Eastern European, but God knows which one. We didn't need a translator, though. It was blindingly obvious that she wanted us to let her out, and it didn't take us long to, some way, and it didn't take us long to some way of letting... Oh. And it didn't take us long to find some way of letting her out, but it came with a price. To open up the cells, we had to set off the fire alarm, which meant we had to get out of there without grabbing so much as a Krungaran. What the fuck are these words? Who made up all these words? They need to cut that out. Krungarand. Krugerrand. What the hell's a Krugerrand? Is that like a... Oh, it's a coin. Pronounced Scalamence is about Satan lying to save the world because it's a fantasy work, there's magic. In the end, every witch in the world gets pregnant with him. Oh, perfect. Bullion is non-ferrous metal that has been refined to a high standard of elemental purity. The term is ordinarily. To open up the cells, we had to set off the fire alarm, which meant we had to get out of there without grabbing so much as a Krugerrand. But not before Kev walked over to the room the nurses had locked themselves in. It had this little glass panel on it so you could just see inside a bit, but not a lot. Right before we tripped the fire alarm, Kev walks over just to see if there's anything in there worth taking. Then all we hear is, "Jesus Christ, boys, what in God's name is all that?" I remember walking over and peering through the little glass panel. The first thing I saw was all those terrified nurses, but behind them, in all these little see-through plastic pouches, were babies. Not like actually full-grown kids. No. Some of them didn't look all the way grown yet, but you could tell what they were. There was no mistaking it. We then put two and two together, all silently coming to the same rough conclusion as to what was happening in there, and that's when Phil flew into a rage. I knew it was stupid of him to try and rescue that pregnant girl. We were the bad guys. We were the bad guys. You don't do stuff like that when you're a bad guy. It gets you caught. It gets you killed. But what was I gonna do? Make him leave her? Phil was about a foot taller than me, so generally speaking, whenever Phil wanted to do something, it got done. On the way out to the van, Sean stopped near these big long curtains. Phil just about tore his head off, asking him what in God's name he was thinking, but later, when he saw him pulling out a lighter and set fire to a dusty pair of drapes, he said he just smiled in approval. We piled into the van just before 4 in the afternoon, and I remember that clearly because of the little digi-clock on the dashboard. As Kev turned the van around, I saw smoke coming up from one of the windows, and I remember hoping the place burned to the ground. We drove so fast that I think we were almost back in London before we saw a fire engine zooming past us going the other way, and thankfully, that was the only time we saw blue flashing. And thankfully, that was the only time we saw blue flashing lights behind us. The pregnant girl apparently didn't know a bit of English and was crying and saying thank you over and over again as we drove back. She didn't know much though, only enough to repeat the phrase Tottenham Court Road when we asked her where she lived. We dropped her off, all went our separate ways. Kev got rid of the van, and apparently that was that. We never had a visit from the coppers with the big key. It took us ages for word of the fire to reach the airwaves, and for all intent and purposes, the raid never bloody happened in the first place. Only, we couldn't forget about it, or rather, Kev wouldn't let us. The prick wouldn't shut up about it, worrying about the girls, wanting to try to find the one we'd saved or call in some anonymous tip to the police. And I'm perfectly sure he did too. Calling a tip, I mean. He never told us he did, but I know, because Kev was the first one to turn up dead. They said he topped himself, but anyone who knew Kev knew he wasn't like that. He didn't leave a note, didn't tell anyone he was depressed or anything. Phil was next, or rather, if they did get him, his body was never found. Told me he was going to work in Birmingham with another crew or some job he'd heard about, and that was the last time I spoke to him. His phone was disconnected about a week or so after he got the train up there. I hope he's alright, but part of me know he's gone now. Part of me know. Part of me know. Yeah, this story's a little fucking weird. I don't even know. Like, is it insinuating that they were like harvesting human? Joel, what's my opinion of women? It's a fucking weird question. Jamal, what's your opinion of onions? Yeah, there you go. There's a good rebuttal. I hope he's alright, but part of me knows that he's gone now. I turned myself into the police when they found Sean. Someone had broken into his flat and beat him to death. Sean. Big 6-foot-something Sean. Amateur boxer Sean. They'd smashed him to the point where he was unrecognizable. If Sean wasn't safe, neither was I. When I first tried to confess to having started the fire, the police told me I had to have been mistaken. Clarendon Park House had told them there was an electrical fault in the basement that started the fire, so they basically refused to arrest me for it. I had to tell them almost everything to get them to believe me, even gave them a rough idea of the van's reg number so they could track it in the... What's my opinion on boobs? They're pretty cool. What's your opinion on Greek architecture? It's made to last. That... Clarendon Park. Wait, what? Clarendon Park had told them that it was an electrical fault in the basement that started the fire, so they basically refused to arrest me for it. I had to tell them almost everything to get them to believe me, even gave them a rough idea of the van's reg number so they could track it with motorway CCTV. Clarendon Park didn't want to press charges, apparently. Not until the police wanted to search the property, then, all of a sudden, they were fine with me taking the blame for it. Funny that, isn't it? What I also find funny is how none of it ever appeared in the paper. In fact, on their website it still says that they had a fire in 2015 and that it was an electrical fault, not an arson attack. But I know what happened. No one believes me, but I know what happened. I got 9 years for arson, with a few other convictions tagged onto it, damaging a grade 2 listed building and whatnot. But there was a chance I'd be out in 6. I know they tried to have me killed in jail, whoever they are. Some kid appeared on E-Wing around Easter of 2017. No one knew him. No one knew what he was in for. Could have been any... No one knew what he was in for. Couldn't have been any older than 18 or 19. Kid tried to shank me up with the sharpened end of a toothbrush. The screws couldn't figure out why. The screws? Who are the screws? The screws couldn't figure out why. I'd have told them if I thought that they'd have believed me. The kid was found dead and Daled. I'm having a struggle bus right now. The kid was found dead in his cell not long after. Made a noose out of a jumper and just did himself in. After that, I knew they wouldn't have another go until I was out, and I just kept my head down and did my time. But now here I am. I've been out of the nick for a few months now, renting a bed sit-in, well, what the fuck is these sentences? For a few months now, renting a bed sit-in. A bed sit-in? Is that a fucking thing? Well, it'd be silly to give that away now, wouldn't it? I don't fucking know. What's my opinion on the American Civil War? I don't know, man. I was not alive then. But now here I am. I've been out of the nick for a few months now, renting a bed sit-in. Well, it'd be silly to... Oh, I see. A bed sit-in, as if though they're pausing to say... Why would you write like that, though? Now here I am. I've been out of the nick for a few months now, renting a bed sit and, well, It'd be silly to give that away now, wouldn't it? I've been in touch with the journalist from The Guardian. I tried others, but no one else believed me. If anything happens, this bloke has all the info, and if they make a move on me, he'd promised to drop the lot of it onto his boss's desk. But all we can do now is wait. Yeah, we'll keep digging for info, keep trying to prove the unprovable, but I know they're closing in on me. I know they can't allow me to live, because to whoever is responsible for the horror show under Clarendon Park House, a few more bodies are nothing to them. Joel, you're behind comments. What's my opinion on art organ harvesting? I like stealing people's Googleplexes. What's your opinion on our marriage? Divorce papers are coming soon. I'm taking both of your dogs. Can I explain? Oh yeah. No, actually, Liz, I can't explain. You will have to wait until the story comes out tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there or be square. Do I like Paw Patrol? I never watched Paw Patrol. I did see that they were doing like Paw Patrol on ice or something weird in a local area. Opinion, what's your Joel on farts? Oh, it's so stinky. What's my opinion on everybody asking your opinion and stuff? I get annoyed with, I don't mind people asking me my opinion about stuff, but like when people ask you what's your opinion about something controversial or whatever, or not controversial, but just like anything, usually what they're actually saying is like, hey, do you think the same way that I think about this? You know, it's just like usually like a dead giveaway on something. And really, if you don't, that just kind of like solidifies in their mind whether or not they like you or don't like you. Because a lot of people are incapable of handling differences of opinions. How dare you assault me with your different opinion? What's my opinion on Joel? It's a good name. You prefer Paw Patrol over Coco Melon any day. What's Coco Melon? I never heard of that. What's my opinion on mommy milkers? Now that's something I think we can all get behind. Can I let you in? If they're cold, if you're cold, they're cold. Let them in. What's my opinion on Geminis? Liz, you don't know it's a dumb story because you admitted to never even knowing what it's about. Because you didn't get it. It was dumb because I didn't get it. That's my opinion on religion. Oh, if it helps you, you know. Do it up. What's my opinion on opinions? Oh, wait, there's a funny quote. Opinions are like buttholes. I forget. What's the quote? Oh, I see, yeah. Opinions are like farts. It can be so hard to hold them in. Yeah. But most of the time, they're stinky. Cassie doesn't care about my opinion. Shut up. I know. I'm doing that. I'm piping closed. I'm sticking a pipe in it. I'm sticking a hole in my pipe, or a pipe in my hole. In my opinion hole. Oh yeah, opinions are like buttholes, everyone has them. And they always get eaten. Opinion on Updog? What's Updog? How many stories left? We got 4 more. 4 more thick boys. I still feel bad. I hope that Blue Rooster did see that it eventually, I don't know, like I did respond to those donations in twerking fashion. In the summer of 2007, the petite, Petit. In the summer of 2007, the Petit family of Cheshire, Connecticut consisted of Dr. William Petit, his 48-year-old wife Jennifer, and their two daughters, 17-year-old Haley and 11-year-old Michaela. Michaela? Maybe Michaela? What's my opinion on Pradeep? He is soft. Very, very soft. The stream is so ADHD today. This is true. I feel like the chat is like the embodiment of like ADHD, where it's just like 900 different things going at one time. Oh, Michaela. Okay. What's my opinion on Wendy's? It's okay. The burgers are actually pretty decent compared to most. Do I speak Arabic, Habibi? Bibdi? You know I'm an alien. Prove it. Did I watch the news yesterday about how doctors talk bad about you behind your back when you're under surgery? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, you know what I mean? Like, I worked in healthcare a long ass time. Like, every fucking nursing staff member ever talks shit on patients. It's just, it's sad, you know, but it's a reality. Wendy's Spicy McNugs. In the summer of 2007, the Petit family of Cheshire, Connecticut consisted of Dr. William Petit, his 48-year-old wife Jennifer, and their two daughters, 17-year-old Haley and 11-year-old Michaela. William Petit was an endocrinologist over in nearby Plainville, and he was also the medical director of the Joslin Diabetes Center at Connecticut Central Hospital, while Jennifer was a nurse and co-director of the health center at Cheshire Academy, a private boarding school in their hometown of Cheshire. They had met at the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh in the mid-'80s, while she was an oncology nurse and was a third-year medical student, and were married shortly after. Wait, yeah, what? Oh, he was a third-year. I was like, no way she was a nurse and then went to medical school. That's kind of crazy. I did know one like ER nurse that went on to become, or went back to medical school to become a doctor, mainly because she was so sick of taking orders from doctors. Healthcare stories, or will HIPAA come for you? I mean, it would only be HIPAA if you told the stories without the permission of the people that gave the stories. So if there's somebody, if you guys had like healthcare stories or healthcare horror stories that you turned, you know, that you wrote down and disclosed to be told on the channel, I don't think HIPAA would really apply in that scenario, because it's like you're kind of consenting to your story being told by writing it and giving it. But yeah, usually most of the stories don't include like identifying info anyways. They had met at the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh in the mid-'80s, while she was an oncology nurse and he was a third-year medical student, and were married shortly after. The Petit's elder daughter, Haley, was born just 4 years later and would grow up to study medicine at Dartmouth College. During her teenage years, Haley had been an active fundraiser for multiple sclerosis research, following her mother's own MS diagnosis. Little sister Michaela was born in 1995 and was said to have enjoyed cooking for her family when she wasn't studying at the Chase Collegiate School. The Petits were the very picture of a happy, hard-working, upper-middle-class family who had everything to look forward to. But July of that same year, two men would have an irreparable impact on their lives and turn just 1 or 2 pre-dawn hours into a waking nightmare. On the evening of Sunday, July 22nd of 2007, Jennifer and young Michaela drove down to a local Stop and Shop to pick up some groceries for that evening's dinner. It was during this grocery run Jennifer noticed that she and her daughter had drawn the attention of a man in his late 20s, one with dark eyes, dark hair, and patchy facial hair. The man appeared to have followed them through the aisles for a while, keeping his distance but maintaining his presence. Jennifer Petit grew anxious, throwing a few items into her cart and then heading for the cashier as quickly as she could. The feeling of anxiety only abated when she and her daughter were safely back in their car, but although she wouldn't see it, Jen was being followed. She believed that she'd be safe when she was back at home, but in reality, her nightmare would only just be beginning. The man who'd followed her home was 27-year-old Joshua. Oh, that's a weird name to remember. Cashy. Re-upping her membership for 41 months. Holy shit. Oh my fucking god. This is the longest I've subscribed to someone, Joel. I think you're stinky in the best way. Doink daddy. Shut us all up. Let's read. Thank you, Cashy. How many? What is 41 months? Jesus. That's a long ass time. Holy shit. Almost 4 years. Have I really been streaming and for almost 4 years? That's fucking nutballs. Hi, Hannah. Joel's what you named your left testicle. Perfect. Some people work in healthcare fucking suck. I agree, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good people who work in healthcare. And, you know, when push comes to shove, they're going to do their best to take care of you. But you have to remember, like, people in healthcare are still just normal people that are just doing a job. And as much as we want to think that, like, we're going to get some sort of, like, tender, loving care when we go certain places, which, you know, is certainly given at times within the healthcare system, most of the time, like, most healthcare workers just want to get to break, you know what I mean? They just want to do what they need to do so they can go home, clock out. But it's mainly just from, like, seeing shit every day, all day, every day, dealing with people's sicknesses, that eventually your brain just turns off that part, that sort of empathy, I guess. Research and development is depressing too, but highly rewarding in the end. Interesting. What is that? Like, what context are you talking about? Tell Pradeep hello. Hey, Pradeep. Oh. Wait, Pradeep, Hannah says hello. I don't know. He's on the chair. His ear twitched when I said that, so that might have been him waving. Opinions are like balls. Kick them hard enough and it doesn't matter how many you've got. That sounds violent. You lost 60 pounds, had some crazy-ass symptoms. Doctor treated me like a hypochondriac. Turns out I had an intestinal infection. Yeah, that's what's really lame about, like, the healthcare system, is that, like, if they don't know what's going on, or they usually have presumptions to what's going on, but I don't know. And sometimes, like, you come across doctors that really aren't that much more intelligent than, like, a nurse, you know, as far as their ability to, like, identify what is going on. And the worst part is that most doctors, because they're a doctor, are usually under the interpretation that their opinion supersedes everybody else, and they get this, like, weird God complex, which those are the worst doctors. But a lot of them are like that. It's kind of fucked, you know, and they're not very happy people, doctors, at least where I worked. But there are a few that I met that are, like, some of the best people ever. But I mean, it just depends on the personality. I don't know if being a doctor, though, sometimes just kind of, like, attracts people like that who can just turn their soul off, you know? Oh, does Hannah have her cat on Instagram? That's funny. Turtle. Joel, if you don't stop clapping back those cheeks, I'm gonna have to invade that house. I can't help it. Everywhere I go, these cheeks be clapping. It took 7 years to find out you need a gallbladder taken out. That's crazy. Usually that's pretty quick to identify, but yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends on the facility you're at. NPs are the best doctors, nurse practitioners. Yeah, I would say so. Just, like, you know, they've been a nurse for a while, so they're, like, empathetic in that way, and, like, the, you know, patient care, or, like, bedside manner, I guess you could say. I love how there's, like, a term. What's your bedside manner as, like, a doctor? And it's like, do you mean, are you a dick or not? You know, and that's what I always hated. Like, they always try to, like, rationalize a doctor being, like, borderline sociopathic with dumb, like, terminology, like bedside manner. No, that guy's an asshole. That's what he is. Or girl, too. Used to clean hospital rooms. I asked the doctor for directions, and he stared at me as if it was, why the fuck are you talking to me, peasant? It made me feel like some type of way for a long time. Yeah, shit's fucked. I don't know where they get that perspective. That they are God's gift to earth. Jennifer Petit grew anxious, throwing a few items into her cart and then heading for the cashier as quickly as she could. The feeling of anxiety only abated when she and her daughter were safely back in their car. But although she couldn't see it, Jennifer was being followed. She believed she'd be safe once she was back at home, but in reality, her nightmare would only just be beginning. The man who'd followed her home was 27. Oh, that's right, I have to look up this fucking name. Joshua Komisarjevsky. The fuck? The fuck is that shit? Oh wow, this is a popular name. Oh, Komisarjevsky. Okay, so that's exactly it. Before your internship, you worked in a nursing home. Although I was a male CNA, to make it to graduation in CS, I felt I was taken advantage. At first, I liked helping, but then I wanted to quit ASAP. What's my opinion on luck? Because I just knocked 2 buckets of paint on the floor. If you don't hear from me in chat, that means I'm dead. From paint? Is it like slowly starting to like absorb you? Barbie with the 10 cent. Gotta run. Please kiss Pradeep for me. Thanks for being a motherfucking rock star and engaging with us later. Nadobax. By the way, I only see an NP for my neuro stuff. MDs forget that they work for us. I know. That's the thing. It's like, I don't know. Like, I think it's because, like, most of the time they don't have anybody they have to answer to, you know? Whenever you have, like, a boss as, like, a nurse or a healthcare worker, like, you want to do a good job because you don't, you know, want to get fired or whatever, or, like, get a bad review or get in trouble or whatever, you know? But sometimes I feel like doctors can kind of go so long without having to, like, sort of have a checks and balances to their, you know, bedside manner that they end up just kind of getting used to being God. Your pelvis is killing you. A doctor would misdiagnose it because reasons. Well, I mean, that sounds like something you should definitely get checked out. I mean, it could be anything. It could be anything like bone related. It could be muscle related. It could be digestive tract related, I assume. I'm not. This isn't medical advice or anything like that. I'm just like running thoughts through my head. Did you hear Link in the background? That wasn't Link. That was what is its name? I forget. But it is from Zelda, yeah. Komisarjevsky, okay. The man who'd followed her home was 27-year-old Joshua Komisarjevsky. And when he slowed to a stop outside the Petit family home, he pulled out his phone and began to text a friend. "I'm chomping at the bit to get started," he wrote. "We still on?" His friend, 44-year-old Steve Hayes, replied. "Yes, soon. Hold your horses," Josh wrote back. "Dude," Steve replied, "the horses want to get loose." After the next few hours, the Petit family went about their evening as planned. Michaela helped her mom cook up a delicious, wholesome dinner. The family convened to eat, then each went their separate ways for the evening, entertaining themselves until bedtime. However, William Petit, the family patriarch, was something of a weekend night owl and often stayed up late watching TV until he fell asleep on the couch downstairs. This is exactly what he did on the night of July 22nd, too, which meant that when Joshua Komisarjevsky and Steve Hayes broke into the ground floor of the Petit family home, Williams was the first sleeping body they came across. Josh immediately attacked him on sight, striking him 4 or 5 times with a baseball bat before Yeah, Navi, that's right, Navi. Your butthole squeaks sometimes. What you should do, you gotta hold it in. You gotta hold it in until it comes back up out through your mouth. JK. This will be posted to the video. Yep. Yep, this is just me recording, bullshitting with everybody, having a good old time. Which we're at 600 people, so thanks for being here. And then I will edit this together tonight or tomorrow to get ready for a Monday video. This is exactly what he did on the night. Okay. Josh immediately attacked him on sight, striking him 4 or 5 times with a baseball bat before binding his wrists and ankles with zip ties and rope. William later stated that he remembered one of the men telling the others, if he moves, put 2 bullets in him. Josh and Steve then moved from room to room, rounding up Jennifer, Haley, and Michaela before binding them in turn. Then each had a pillowcase placed over their head in order to obscure their vision. After the Petites were properly restrained, Josh and Steve began to ransack the house, taking everything of value that wasn't nailed down. After taking William to the basement and tying him to a support pole, Josh and Steve continued to violently toss the family home in the hopes of finding additional jewelry or cash, and it quickly became obvious to the family that neither man was satisfied with their loot. They had apparently stolen $15,000 worth of goods, but they knew the Petites could get them more. It was all a matter of patience and careful planning. At this point, we know that Steve Hayes left the house, leaving the family under the guard of Josh Komisarjevsky. He drove to a nearby gas station, purchased $10 worth of gasoline, then drove back to the Petite house, where he then forced Jennifer to accompany him to a local bank. This is how the 2 criminals got their $15 grand, but not before Jennifer suddenly alerted the bank teller that her terrifying... Ever said what mic I use? Yeah, I should put that in my description at some point. But for streaming, well, for recording, I'll say first. Right now, I use an H4n Pro. I used to have it set to stereo, but now it's set to mono because I just find that, I don't have to worry about it sort of like being, because a lot of people said that they hear it more on like a left ear than right ear, or right ear and left ear kind of thing. But it had more to do with the fact that it was like a stereo mic, and therefore, depending on which side I was closest to, it had more of a pickup there. But yeah, H4n Pro for my recording mic, and then the mic that's directly underneath it is an AKG C214 that is connected to a Zoom UAC2 interface that translates the analog data into digital data that then goes to your earballs. How long does it take me to edit everything? Maybe like an hour or so. Just kind of like, I'm really good at it. Horror movie reboots? I don't know. If they're good, they're good, but I just think all movies are complete shit anymore, or most of them. I just I can't even granted, somebody says when you start to not like stuff, maybe you have to realize that they're not making it for you. I'm like, that's a good point. But also, what they make is complete shit. Oh, you're welcome. Joel narrates my drunken life. I thought you were a billionaire. Do I have a schedule for streams? Well, I'd like to have it more consistent, but my upload schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and usually if I stream, it's the night before. So Sunday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, but I definitely don't think I can get to 3 days a week like I used to. So definitely, I'm hoping to at least do it 1 day a week, and probably Sundays, you know what I mean? Maybe closer to 9 p.m. or something. We shall see. I've been wanting to fix my sleep schedule for a while, and I do for a little bit, but then it gets fucked up again because, at nighttime, it's oh, you're chilling, you want to play video games with your friends, but then you end up staying up, and then you end up sleeping late, and then you end up hating your life because you haven't seen the sun in 900 years. Etc., etc. This is how the 2 criminals got their 15 grand, but not before Jennifer suddenly alerted the bank teller to her terrifying predicament. This bank teller then contacted the Cheshire Police Department, who had officers setting up a silent perimeter around the house before she and Hayes had even arrived home again. Yet when they did, Steve Hayes realized he should have never have left his partner alone with the girls. After once again restraining Jennifer, Steve Hayes walked into the upstairs bedroom to find 17-year-old Haley Petite in floods of tears, while 11-year-old Michaela lay catatonic on the floor nearby. When he asked Josh what he had done, he unapologetically admitted to have... What do I think of Halo Infinite? It's okay. It's definitely Halo. Been playing a decent amount of it since it came out. It's kind of weird in the fact that I kind of feel like it takes way more shots to kill someone than it used to. You know what I mean? It just seems like everyone is... It just seems like everyone is a tank, pretty much. But I guess maybe that's kind of like how... Maybe that's kind of like how they balance it, is like, well, you need to focus someone down as a team, so you all need to be shooting them at one time. There's also like weapon combos, you know what I mean? Like this weapon, maybe you just need to figure out like what this weapon does to like bring their shield down, and then you switch back to like shooting your assault rifle or whatever, or your pistol or whatever they have, or like the plasma, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that there's certain things to it, but at the same time, I kind of feel like I was huge into Halo, back in the day, and I played through pretty much all of them, at least a little bit, to see like how they are each time. But thumb in the culo, Jesus Christ. But basically, I don't know. It's just kind of repetitive to me, I suppose. It is fun though, like just especially in big team battle, just like rolling around. The other day, or I guess it was yesterday, maybe or the day before, I got. Like, the only good weapon I come to find that was, like, consistently killing people in the game was, the fucking Warthog machine gun. Like, we were just darting around, and I got, like, 2 kill-trocities in a row just on that fucking, Warthog machine gun. But then all of the other, like, the Ghost was pretty reliable. The Wasp, which is, like, the flying USMC, vehicle, that one was really good. It's actually, like, too good. I didn't really get to use the Banshee too much. But then, like, the Goshawk kind of sucks, you, like, pretty much have to, like, hit successive shots to really take someone out. And I don't know. Like, then there's what's that one it's like the Chopper, something. Like, that one was kind of unreliable. Same with, like, the Gun Goose. It just seemed like a lot of the weapons were just kind of worthless for the most part. Like, if you find yourself in a 1v1 situation, I don't know. It's definitely Halo, but as far as, like, I also was hoping for SWAT, but then, like, I play Splitgate. If anybody has Splitgate, Splitgate is fucking sweet. Just because I play SWAT and Splitgate, and I can just go, like, I can get, like, 35 kills, like, because it's so easy. Like, all you have to do is just, like, put it on their head, bow, 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 just, like, cleaning up the whole fucking squad. And I did kind of do a custom game mode in Halo for that, but I don't know, like, it's just, like, not as satisfying in Halo or whatever. Even though the sniper was pretty sick, but it's definitely Halo. I definitely probably will play through the campaign when it comes out or whatever, but I can't really see myself doing the battle pass, because, I get that it's free to play, but I don't know if I like the game enough to do the battle pass. Especially since essentially you're paying money just to get like a few different colors here and there. Sequitur Tenebrae. Sequitur Tenebrae, is that how you say it? Happy Thanksgiving to my favorite narrators with a voice like a hug. Fun fact, my username is Sequitur. It's Latin for darkness follows. Oh, okay, that's cool. Well, thank you, my friend. Thank you for the 10. I hope you have a good Thanksgiving, too. I'm looking forward to it. Ready to stuff my face with that food. And I hope everybody else has a good Thanksgiving. I hope you have somewhere to go, some people to eat food with. I hope maybe you get a chance to make something. I'm going to be making some desserts for the fam. Should be pretty sweet. Nathan Holton with the 5 says, too bad Halo Infinite won't have co-op available for 3 more months. Am I right? 3 more months. That seems a little ridiculous. Yeah, it seems like they've had a really like tough development process, which is crazy to think. Like they had $500,000 budget or something on this game, and I don't know. This seems a little ridiculous. Coco the Monkey with the 5 says, I love Navi. Every time I hear that ringtone, it makes me happy. Oh, that's good. Yeah, you should. I think you can find it on YouTube. I think I've downloaded it off YouTube and then like isolated it to sound better and changed it up a little bit. You're making Thanksgiving dinner. I make a wicked bishop pie for dessert. Damn, yeah. I respect people who can like, I don't know, just organize a whole ass like meal for a shit ton of people in one day. Like how do you do the timing? You know what I mean? Like I got a lot of respect for my mom just to like make a shit ton of stuff. Just a ton of shit. You know, it's like that just seems stressful as hell, and like making sure that it stays warm and that like it's ready for, you know, when everybody gets there at that time. And granted, I'm sure like you know, you get used to it as the years go on, but man, that would be a lot of pressure. Hey Joel, does anyone recognize your voice in public? I don't think so. Can I cook or bake, Joel? I mean, I can cook and bake, you know, it's just I'm one of those ones who, you know, I do it during like I have to watch like YouTube videos and shit to do it well. But I do enjoy it. I do enjoy like cooking and baking as sort of an art form, I guess. Like it feels like you're doing like art a little bit. Used to cook Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving meal and invite anyone who has no one. Oh, that's nice. That's a good thing, you know what I mean? Like, because that's one thing I realized. I'm like, I have family, but I'm like, fuck. The day that I don't have family, like, what do you do? I mean, I guess you have your own family or whatever, but on the hypothetical, like, reality didn't play out like that, it would be really, really... Because I remember there was, like, we were on a bit of a road trip to see a stand-up comedy show, and we stopped at this place called Wawa, and Wawa has, like, this, like, a Subway, or a sub, or, like, a hoagie, I guess, whatever you want to call it, that had like a bunch of just turkey and like stuffing and like cranberry stuff like all put into just like Thanksgiving shit. And I just sent a message to my friend. I was like, this is my future for fucking Thanksgiving. The gobbler, yeah, the fucking gobbler. It just seemed like the most depressing thing to eat of all time. I did get a meatball sub there. It was good as fuck. Honestly, like, there's like the you know, like in Pennsylvania, there's Sheetz and then there's Wawa. And like, honestly, I'd have to say like, Wawa is like, you know, food might, honestly, I don't want to say might. Like, Wawa's food's better than Sheetz, you know. Sheetz is a little sloppy, to be honest with you. Like, most of their stuff is just like pre-made shit. It's not bad, you know, compared to normal fast food, but it's not great. Y'all ever kill a bug and think their parents are waiting for them? The Queen. Where's Jonathan? I've counted over 1 million of you, but where's John? John! You had a smoothie from Sheetz once? Yeah, you know, they're not bad. But I'd like to actually try more stuff from Wawa. See what it be like, though. Never again, okay? Never again. Never forget. What is Sheetz? It's just like a gas station, but like they have, you know, it's just like a fancy gas station pretty much. And like they have like what's called MTOs, or made to orders. And you like have touch screens that you can like put in your order for like whatever fast food you want. And a lot of the shit is really good. Their French fries are good as fuck compared to like most fast food restaurants' French fries. But and there's a lot of options, you know. But I kind of feel like Wawa might have them beat a little bit because obviously they're competitors. And I think competition is good because it motivates people to be better or innovate on the last person, you know. All right. When he asked Josh what he had done, oops. Ooh la la, Andrea has been a member for 6 months. Recommendations for Shudder, please. Going to use your link, but not a fan of typical horror. Want to know what else besides Channel Zero? Well, let's take a look here. All right, Shudder. I mean, the like one of my favorites is the Creep Show like series. I don't know. I like those like anthology shows, but I guess you say you don't like conventional horror. Let's see. I don't know. Anybody else been using or have any suggestions? I feel like I'm looking at here, and there was one really cool one where it was like very sci-fi oriented that was like very visually crazy. I forget what it was called though. It was almost like a year ago now or more. But that one was nuts. Your mom can cook for 40 to 50 people. I don't know how she's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. That is crazy. When he asked Josh what he'd done, he unapologetically admitted to having assaulted her, all in the presence of a restrained older sister. Even for a hardened criminal, Hayes later admitted to being horrified by what his partner had done, but in reality it was more of an inconvenience. Hayes grabbed a bottle of bleach, angrily commanding Josh to get rid of any biological evidence he may have left behind. But while he continued to berate his partner, Josh turned around and accused him of being a homosexual. Hayes denied it, arguing that Josh had simply overcomplicated the situation, but Josh insisted, repeatedly accusing Hayes of being attracted to men. So then, in order to prove his partner wrong, Hayes dragged Jennifer Petit into another room and assaulted her, all just to prove a point. Jennifer screamed a blood-curdling scream as she tried and failed to fight her attacker off. Her husband, William, tried to shout up some encouragement from downstairs, willing her to hang on just a little bit longer. That's when he heard one of the invaders say, "Don't worry, it's all going to be over in a couple of minutes." William later said he realized that this indicated that they were going to be executed, that he experienced a jolt of adrenaline that enabled him to escape his bindings and flee the house. He later told a courtroom that, "I thought, it's now or never, because in my mind at that moment, I thought they were going to shoot all of us." Hayes was still assaulting Jennifer Petit when Josh walked in to tell him that William had somehow escaped. Hayes was furious, immediately murdering Jennifer by strangulation before rushing out to his truck to retrieve the gasoline he'd purchased. Haley and Michaela were still upstairs, both tied to a king-size bed in the master bedroom, and we can only imagine their horror when they realized that Steve Hayes was dousing their entire family home in gasoline. Oops. C Gen C with the $10 says, "What's up, homies? What's up, Jen? How are you? What's poppin'? What's going on?" Yeah, these guys are monsters. And Heidi Johnson is a member for 2 months, sending my happy Thanksgiving early. Thank you, Heidi. Since you've been a member for 2 months, those 2 months have also included some bonus content for you. I don't know if Schick is still in the chat here, or one of the mods. In the description of the video, I'm not sure if you can you guys access that? I'm not sure, but anyways, there's a playlist for the bonus content, for members that you can have access to. That's got two big old long stories on there, and I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe I should even take like votes or like polls or something on what content you guys want to see in the next members only content. Perhaps I was thinking like paranormal. I was thinking about going down the line of like paranormal stuff, because I know that's not something that's like conventionally enjoyed by most of the audience, but also is enjoyed by like a lot of hardcore people. So I don't know. What are my favorite kind of ants? Is that what I asked? Nice, thank you. Yeah, Heidi, I'm glad you got to check them out. Haley and Michaela were still upstairs, both tied to a king-size bed in the master bedroom, and we can only imagine their horror when they realized that Steve Hayes was dousing their entire family home in gasoline. Maybe they smelled the distinct petroleum smell before... Oops. The Butterball recall? Oh my god, no. No way, dude. Is there gonna be a turkey shortage for fucking Thanksgiving? That would be a national disaster. Maybe they smelled the distinct petroleum smell before he ever appeared, but Hayes burst into the bedroom and began to pour that very same gasoline onto their clothing, their skin, and their hair. I can't imagine there are words to even describe that level of fear, dread, and horror. When he was done saturating the house, with callous indifference in his heart, Steve Hayes struck a match, then set them... Fuck, man, that's fucked up. C Gen C with the 5 says, hey, please explain what is Thanksgiving early members only? What's that about? Is that like fans only? Kind of, I get fans only, yeah. It's just a whole room full of blowing fans. No, it's like, so members only stuff, which, I mean, you've probably seen people become like a member once a month. Like, people were becoming members, like they were clicking the join button, you know what I mean? And that's super awesome. But I felt bad because I'm like, I want to provide something for them. So I started doing, the YouTube gives you the ability to do members only content that you can release. So I've done two longer form fictional stories that, you know, have been written for the channel. And yeah, so those are on there. And Wreck-It Ralph. Thank you for becoming a member. You now have the ability to go listen to both of those videos in the members only play. So if you guys know where to access the playlist, you'll see bonus content members only playlist that you can watch that. It's also in the description as well. You should ask for swinger stories. What do you got? A few to hand out. I can't imagine... fuck. I can't imagine that there were words to even describe that level of fear, dread, and horror. When he was done saturating the house, and with callous indifference in his heart, Steve Hayes struck a match, and then set the home ablaze. As the home burned around her, 17-year-old Haley managed to break out of her restraints and run out into an upstairs hallway. However, she was almost immediately overcome by smoke, collapsing and dying in the hallway. Michaela's body was still tied to the bed, and an autopsy indicated that her burns may have started while she was still alive. As we mentioned, their father was about to escape the house, and he limped over to a neighbor's yard for help. His injuries were so grievous that despite living next to him for years, his neighbor didn't recognize William at first, and had to wait for a verbal confirmation before he ran to call the cops. Meanwhile, as the house burned, Josh and Steve escaped in the petite family car, but crashed shortly afterward, allowing the police to catch and arrest them. In the police interviews that followed, both Josh and Steve confessed to the murders. Detectives noted that Hayes reeked of gasoline during his interview and tried to pin almost everything on Josh, clearly still angry that his negligence had allowed William Petit to escape. Josh, on the other hand, openly called William a coward and told detectives that he could have saved his family if he wanted to. But who exactly were their pair of... Staring at a screen for so long? I actually have this program called Flux. It's like f.lux, and it makes everything kind of like like orange hue over top of it, so it kind of like wearing those like blue lens glasses or whatever. It's pretty nice. Makes staring at the screen much easier for long periods of time, so I don't get glaucoma. Detectives noted that Hayes reeked of gasoline during his interview and tried to pin almost everything on Josh, clearly still angry that his negligence had allowed William Petit to escape. Josh, on the other hand, openly called William a coward and told detectives that he could have saved his family if he wanted to. But who exactly were these pair of remorseless psychopaths who seemed to have no problem escalating a simple robbery into an assault and live cremation? Stephen J. Hayes, born May 30th of 1963 in Homestead, Florida, received his first adult conviction at age 16. Between then and the time of his arrest in 2007, Hayes was arrested over 30 times, mostly for small-time robberies such as smashing a car window to steal a lady's purse. It's clear that he was a career criminal and that he committed some horrendous crimes during his tenure, but compared to his partner, Steve Hayes was a veritable Boy Scout. Born August 10th of 1980, Joshua A. Komazarjevsky. CGNC, hey, well there you go. Thanks for being a member, and welcome to the Buttersock Cult. And now you have access to all those goodies. If anyone doesn't know where to access those, just let me know. The Chills voice. Born on August 10th of 1980, Joshua A. Komazarjevsky was born to a teen mother who was unable to care for him. After being placed in an adoption center, Joshua was taken into the care of Benedict Komazarjevsky, the son of a theatrical director, Theodore Komazarjevsky. What the fuck? What's the full name of the girl in the story? Well, it's the Petit family. We got Haley Petit, Michaela Petit, the mother Jennifer Petit, and the dad was William, Dr. William Petit. Yes. Because you have to leave YouTube to get to them, the bonus stuff. Well, they have it on Patreon, or I have it on Patreon. The $5 tier on there lets you do that, but then if someone becomes a member on YouTube, you can access the members-only playlist there. But it's just like they operate kind of like as private videos, essentially. Oh. After being placed in an adoption center, Joshua was taken into the care of Benedict Komazarjevsky. After being placed in an adoption center, Joshua was taken into the care of Benedict Komazarjevsky. Shit, I can't get this right now. After being placed in an adoption center, Joshua was taken into the care of Benedict Komazarjevsky, the son of theatrical director Theodore Komazarjevsky and dancer Ernestine Stodell. He was a mostly quiet and well-behaved child, but by age 12, Josh began to display the rather horrifying symptoms of a dark and destructive mental illness, best illustrated in an instance in which Joshua's sister accused him of touching her. At the penalty phase of his trial, Josh's adopter's father would publicly admit that this was true, and that Josh had been struggling with predatory inclinations from a very young age. Josh committed his first burglary when he was just 14 years old, and by 2002, he was arrested for almost 20 separate home invasions. It was around this time that Josh told his defense attorney that after robbing the house, he would go to the rooms where the occupants were sleeping and listen to them breathe, adding that he did so because he enjoyed the feeling of invading people's homes and violating their security. He spent 5 years in prison for his crimes, eventually being paroled in April of 2007, just a few weeks for the... Wait, what? Dad, you guys are asking dad, son, uncle? It's funny that you guys all asked that. Or did I read something weird? Step bro, what's going on? He spent 5 years in prison for his crimes, eventually being paroled in April of 2007, just a few weeks from the Petite home invasion. After being paroled, Komazarjevsky stayed at what was known as the Silliman Halfway House, and this is where he and Steve Hayes first met. Following their trials in 2010 and 2011 respectively, both Josh and Steve were sentenced to death for their crimes. Both sentences would eventually be reduced to life terms after some unconnected political wrangling, but even so, both men sought ways to make their punishments easier to bear. On August 18th of 2016, after being transferred to another prison for his safety, Josh Komazarjevsky attempted to hang himself in the prison transport vehicle. He was unsuccessful and has since been placed on an almost permanent watch by the state correctional institution he currently resides at. Steve Hayes, on the other hand, declared himself to Wait, what? Oh, being scared, what's up? Yo. I did? What is he did? Being scared, I heard you saved some lady's life. I did? I don't know. Well, thank you, being scared, for being such a hero. I want to hear your story. Steve Hayes, on the other hand, declared himself to be a transgender woman on October of 2019. He is currently undergoing hormone therapy as part of his transition into a woman, and it has been strongly suggested by correctional staff that he will seek to be transferred to a female. And it has been strongly suggested by correctional staff that he will seek to be transferred to a female correctional facility once that transition has been completed. It's clear that while one man sought to end his own life, the other wishes to begin a new one. Perhaps Steve Hayes really does just wish to be a new person, one unburdened by the sin of his assault and murder. He'll get a second karmic roll of the dice, a new shot at life, but that's far more than we can say for the Petite family and its sole survivor, William. For William has always been haunted by what happened that night, and by his own admission, has never been able to get over it. Yet as he languishes in the eternal agony of pointless and God damn it. Yet as he languishes in the eternal agony of pointless and violent loss, the men who killed his family simply... Sorry, I keep fucking up. Hello, BS. Is that what they call being scared? BS? What the hell? Just kidding. Yet as he languishes in the eternal agony of pointless and violent loss, the men who killed his family simply carry on trying to forget, trying to move on, but there will always be blood on their hands. Yeah, that shit's fucking beyond fucked up. Good God. We ever do another long story like you did about those staircases in the woods? I actually didn't read that. I didn't read the staircase in the woods story, I don't think. I think that was on, like, I know Corpse did. I know a lot of people did that. I think Corpse Husband did that at some point, but I don't believe I read the staircase story unless I read it during stream. Maybe I read it during stream? In December of the year 2000, two brothers by the names of Reginald and Jonathan Carr arrived in the largest city in the state of Kansas, Wichita. The pair hailed from Dodge City, over 150 miles to the west, and each had an extensive criminal record by the time they took their trip to Wichita. But their visit wasn't in good faith. It wasn't some road trip to sample the delights of another big city. Their reasons for being in Wichita were the very definition of malicious and predatory, and it wasn't long before they decided to commence their malevolent mission. On December 8th, Wichita State University baseball player Andrew Schreiber stopped at a convenience store to buy some Skol. Out of nowhere. Wait, Skol is chew, right? I don't get it. Why is it normal for baseball players to chew? Like, that's such a strange thing. Like, a strange part of the baseball culture. Skull. Yeah, I assume it's like skull chewing tobacco. Yeah. I feel like I have to clarify that in the story. Skull. Baseball players are Italian. That's why. Come on, Swamp. Don't be racist. In my chat. Staircase stories are good. Has anyone here seen one? I've seen a staircase from time to time. They're terrifying. Sometimes I don't even bother walking up them because I'm so afraid I'll fall. C-Gen C with the 5 says, very innovative way a narrative. Very innovative way a narrative. Or do you mean about the member stuff, or? What's my streaming schedule? Maybe Sundays, maybe Tuesdays, maybe Thursdays, maybe. Really hard sometimes to kind of like stick with it because it just like, you know, my life, it's all over the place.
Listen.
On December 8th, Wichita State University baseball player Andrew Schreiber stopped at a convenience store to buy some skull chewing tobacco. Out of nowhere, the Carr brothers appeared behind him as he was returning to his car and forced him at gunpoint to withdraw money from ATMs until his card refused more transactions. Schreiber was fortunate enough to escape the encounter with just shot-out tires, a few scrapes and bruises, and a depleted bank account, but others wouldn't be so lucky. Apart from a vague description of 2 male African Americans in their early to mid-20s, police had nothing on which to base an investigation. All was quiet. On December 8th, Joel went to the store to buy Shrek 2 on DVD, and he never returned home to raise his son, Robbie. What was I doing? Was I reading stories? Schreiber was fortunate enough to escape the encounter with just shot-out tires, a few scrapes and bruises. Fuck, my throat. Schreiber was fortunate enough to escape the encounter with just shot-out tires, a few scrapes and bruises, and a depleted bank account, but others wouldn't be so lucky. Apart from a vague description of 2 male African Americans in their early to mid-20s, police had nothing on which to base an investigation, and all was quiet for the few days that followed. Then, just 3 days later on December 11th, they invaded the home of 55-year-old... What is this? Cellist? This is a cellist? Cellist? Like plays the cello? Does like they play the cello? Cellist? English. Cellist, okay. It's cellist. The cellos are pretty sweet. Joel sounds like he needs some milk. I would like milk. That'd be nice. Chalky milk, yeah. Chalky milk. Then, just 3 days later, on December 11th, they invaded the home of 55-year-old cellist and librarian Anne Walenta. The brothers subjected her to much of the same treatment as Schreiber, beating her, robbing her, and taking their time while doing so. However, it appears the brothers underestimated Walenta, and she managed to escape from them, rushing to her car in an attempt to flee the scene. Tragically, one of the Carr brothers noticed her absence, following her outside before sending 3 bullets smashing through her windshield and into her torso. Knowing they were compromised, the Carrs took their turn to abscond from the house, while Anne Walenta would pass away in Knowing they were compromised, the cars took their turn to abscond from the house, while Anne Walenta would pass and away. What the fuck? Knowing they were compromised, the cars took their turn to abscond from the house, while Anne Walenta would pass away from her wounds in a Wichita hospital bed just 3 days later. The car's crime spree was already horrifying in both scope and scale, but it wasn't until December 14th that the brothers would escalate their frenzy from a series of bloody robberies to theatrical levels of pain and suffering. On the night in question, the brothers pulled up outside a house of 12727. I should probably read the whole thing. Was it a vine? The milk vine? It was the milk vine. He on James Mo. On the night in question, the brothers pulled up outside a house at 12727 East Birchwood Drive in the Wichita suburb of Andover, which they later admitted to choosing at random. Inside were financial director Brad Heike, preschool teacher Heather Mueller, and financial analyst turned priest Aaron Sander. Local high school... Oh, there's a lot of people in this motherfucker. Thanks, Justin. Good to see you. Scratching butt ASMR. Inside were financial director Brad Heike, preschool teacher Heather Mueller, financial analyst turned priest Aaron Sander, local high school teacher Jason Beffert, and his girlfriend, a teacher known only in court documents as Holly G. The Carr brothers got out of their car, armed with golf clubs and pistols, and walked up to the front door of the home. One brother hid from view as the other knocked at the house, smiling and waving when he saw movement through a front-facing window. But when the door was open, the brother dropped his friendly facade, pointing his pistol in their victim's face before forcing his way inside. Once all 5 of the home's occupants had been corralled into one of the home's back rooms, the Carr brothers began to pillage their belongings. At one point, one of the brothers opened up a popcorn tin, emptying its contents and observing a small jewelry box that fell out. When he opened it, he found a diamond engagement ring, but instead of simply pocketing the ring and moving on, the brothers found the discovery to be highly amusing. They marched back into the room in which they detained the home's occupants and demanded to know who the ring belonged to. That's how Holly G found out that high school teacher Jason Beffert was planning on proposing to her, not in a moment of joyous surprise, as it was in... Oh my god. That's how Holly G found out that high school teacher Jason Beffert was planning on proposing to her, not in a moment of joyous surprise, as it was intended to be, but in a moment of absolute dread and terror, as 2 strange men laughed in her face about it. Even with the diamond ring and a variety of expensive electricals, the Carr brothers were unhappy with their haul. It was then the brothers decided to take 3 of their prisoners to a series of local ATM machines, forcing each of them in turn to max out their cash withdrawals. This bagged the brothers an additional $2,000, but still, they weren't satisfied. They drove their prisoners back home and then tied them up again, but instead of fleeing the scene with the cash and valuables they'd already collected, the Carr brothers decided to have a little fun. They began to torture the male prisoners from the group, beating them with their gold clubs. Pan Jeep reading these? No, Pradeep is sleeping right now. Oh my god. He on X game mode. He on nappy time mode. Master Chief, you care explain to me what you're doing down there? Sir. What is it? Sir, going blanky mode. I am the man, the legend, the one known simply as Reed. Big kisses and hugs to the kitty. I should take more pictures of him doing cat stuff. Oh yeah. They began to torture the male prisoners from the group, beating them with their golf clubs along with a variety of household items. According to court documents, it's then apparent that one of the Carr brothers remembered how one of their prisoners was engaged to another and decided on horrifically cruel... Sorry. The Hitsubasa? Isn't that like a Halo 3 armor? According to court documents, it's then apparent that one of the Carr brothers remembered how one of their prisoners was engaged to another and decided on a horrifically cruel form of torture involving both of them. One of the brothers dragged Jason Beffert into a position where he could witness the violation of his fiancée. The other picked his own female victim and proceeded to do the same to her. This horrendous torture and abuse went on for more than an hour, with the brothers taking turns to beat and violate each one of their terrified prisoners. When they grew bored of the violence, they packed their prisoners into one of their own cars and drove them out to the Stryker soccer complex on the outskirts of Wichita. As it was late at night, the complex was completely abandoned, and there was no one to stop the brothers from forcing their prisoners from the vehicle and marching them out into one of the soccer fields. They were lined up, forced to kneel, then each of them was shot execution style right in the back of the head before one of the Carr brothers drove over them in the truck they'd been driving. It's chilling to note that this obviously wasn't to finish them off, so to speak. They'd already shot their victims in the head. Running them over in a truck was evidently an attempt to mutilate the bodies as best they could before they fled the site of the murders. Yet amazingly, the Carr brothers didn't attempt to flee Wichita following such a shockingly violent crime. In fact, they didn't even leave the neighborhood. They drove straight back to the home of the victims they'd left lying in the snow and began to utterly destroy the place with their golf clubs. It was then that they found Holly's pet dog, Nikki, who had been so scared during the attack that she'd ran and hid under a kitchen cabinet. One of the Carr brothers enticed the dog towards him with some cold cuts taken from the home's refrigerator. When approached, he smashed it to a pulp with the golf club he was holding. Only when the home had been utterly ransacked did the Carr brothers, Only when the home had been utterly ransacked did the Carr brothers even think to depart, but they did so safe in the knowledge that any potential witnesses had been silenced, and that in all likelihood they would never have to answer for their crimes. But they were wrong. Back at the Stryker soccer complex, blood-soaked, tire-tracked bodies lay motionless in the snow, all except one. Holly G., though bruised and bloodied and battered, slowly began to open her eyes. She couldn't remember how she got into that snow-covered soccer field, nor did she recognize the bodies of the people lying next to her. All she knew was that she needed to find her boyfriend. She needed to find Jason. And that's how she ended up walking almost a mile in the freezing Wichita night, half naked, bleeding and terrified, but still alive. Around a half hour later, a middle-aged couple were awakened by someone pounding at their door. It was 25-year-old Holly G., bleeding and half frozen, according to the homeowner. She apparently opened with, "I need to tell my story before I die." Let's take that one. It was 25-year-old Holly G., bleeding and half frozen, and according to the homeowner, she apparently opened with, "I need to tell you my story before I die." Miraculously, Holly G. survived the attack and would go on to possibly identify both brothers using prior mugshots. Both were tracked down the day after the home invasion and were taken into custody following a long and volatile standoff with police. The local district attorney said that based on the evidence, The motive for the murderies. How the fuck did she survive? Didn't they shoot all of them in the back of the head or something? That's fucking nuts, dude. It reminds me of that like scene from Narcos. You remember that in Narcos where like the government like lined up like I don't even know during their civil war in Colombia or something, people on the side of the road, and then just like a firing squad shot at everyone. But I don't know if they like missed the one person, but he came back as like a character, like because he was essentially selling. He was like a huge, I think like drug salesperson or whatever. But then he just like wakes up in this like pile of bodies on the side of the road, like they missed him or something, but he was like knocked out, and then he just like could, you know, at that point start a whole new life, but decides to come back to what he knows and selling drugs, and I think he dies anyways, so it kind of sucks. But the local district attorney said that based on the evidence, the motive for the murders was robbery, yet he didn't seem to take into account that neither brothers seemed satisfied, even when they killed their victims. He failed to touch on how they returned to the house, not to erase any potential evidence, but to continue to destroy all they found. Regardless, thanks to Holly G's testimony, both brothers were convicted of nearly all 113 counts against them, including kidnapping. Regardless, thanks to Holly G's testimony, both brothers were convicted of nearly all 113 Fuck. I don't know, I can't just... It ricocheted off the skull. Man, that's crazy. That is crazy. Regardless, thanks to Holly G's testimony, both brothers were convicted of nearly all 113 counts against them, including kidnapping, robbery, 4 counts of capital murder, and 1 count of first-degree murder. They were each sentenced to death for the capital murders as well as life in prison, with decades to serve before eligible for parole. Following their imprisonment, sensationalized news coverage of the Carr brothers' vicious crime spree created widespread panic in the greater Wichita area, resulting in a huge spike in the sales of firearms and state-of-the-art home security systems. The fact is, we live in a time when these kinds of crimes are relatively rare. Over the past few decades, violent crime has actually decreased in the Western world, whereas the reporting of it has increased in volume and intensity. It gives us the false impression that things are getting worse when in reality, data might suggest the very opposite. But it's also very true that we can never truly eliminate the dangers that lurk out there in the dark. There will always be monsters. There will always be evil. And sadly, there will always be innocent victims. All right, story 4. Oh, wow, 650 people now. What's good, fam? Click that like button if you haven't already. I hope you're having a good night. You're chilling. Maybe eating some Oreos. Maybe not. Maybe drinking some water. Did you ever hear of water? It's pretty good. Rogue, Nova, take care, take care. Happy Thanksgiving. Jensen, what's up, homie? And yeah, Avery, you don't live too far from Wichita. Did you hear about this when that happened? Have you ever contemplated that at 30 years old you still don't have a girlfriend? It might not have happened. I think it's because I'll be 30 in 2 weeks and I barely finished college. I've thought about it, you know what I mean? Or like currently, you mean, yeah. I mean, it is what it is, you know. All you can do is focus on yourself and do your best. Jensen, for 19 months, holy shit. If you're reading this, then I'm already a ghost. A spooky one that climbs in my butt and farted, says, eating Doritos and chilling like a motherfucking villain. Hell yeah. Doritos are so good. You almost spit the water out. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I haven't, I didn't eat today, did I? Well, it's all good. I got water. I don't feel as, like, in need of food right now. I feel pretty good. Though an energy bar does sound tasty. Tasty. Okay, so this one's a personal story. Not from me, but from somebody. I be living my best life, yeah. When's the face reveal? I don't know. Maybe never, hopefully never. Stella, there are about 43 stories left. Yeah, we're gonna be on here for, I think, another 16 hours. I'm a vampire. Are you a vampire? I think so. You could come find out. It happened in 2000, so I wasn't born yet. However, they still talk about it. There was a guy who got doxxed and swatted there on accident because he was the wrong guy, and he got shot and killed. Damn. That's fucking weird. Fucking what the hell? Am I getting tired? I shouldn't be, but I actually feel pretty good. Dude, I want to drink a fucking Bang energy drink so bad. But I kind of want to reset my sleep schedule also very badly. I don't know. I guess it's an addiction, but like there's just something when I drink caffeine where I'm just like, fuck, yes, let's go. Fuck yeah. And then I crash and I'm like, oh, why did I do that? You would ride out a 16-hour stream. Wonder what the longest stream ever has been. Luckily, I'm on Thanksgiving break next week. Hell yeah, let's go. I miss the days of like school breaks. Those were just like the best feeling ever. Like I got a whole fucking week to just sit, fart on the floor while playing video games, cross-legged, shoving pizza and slurping on sodas. Was the fucking tits. You're not a 90s baby? I am a 90s baby. Right on the 1990 cusp. I grew up in a single-parent household. Just me, my sister, and my mom, with my grandpa occasionally lending a hand with parenting duties. I grew up in a single-parent household. Just me, my sister, and my mom, with my grandpa occasionally lending a hand with parenting duties. And when I was about 4 or 5 years old, we were broken into, twice. I didn't know all the details of the whole thing until years later. Like I have vague memories of moving apartments and some cops calling at the house, but... Oh, Nathan. Thank you, Nathan, with the 10, says I heard a true story about a guy who got shot in the head, bullet entered his skull, zipped around the brain fluid between the brain and skull, and came out the other end. He survived with no brain damage. That's crazy. I remember watching like a episode of, I don't know what it was, maybe CSI years ago, where they're like, hitmen use like 22 caliber pistols because the bullet's not super strong to come out the other side, so it actually like bounces around in the brain, tearing through like brain matter, like really ensuring that the person is dead. And I was like, that's fucking scary. You get the behind the scenes. But yeah, thank you for the 10, Nathan. I didn't know all the details of the whole thing until years later. Like I have vague memories of moving apartments and some cops coming over to the house, but I was pretty much kept in the dark until I was old enough to handle what had gone down. For the first break-in, we were all out grocery shopping, so my mom didn't realize anything had happened until we got home. There was an open window, open drawers. The way my grandpa tells it, it's like my mom interrupted them in the middle of doing something and they climbed out of a second-floor window as soon as he'd heard us arrive. That, or whoever it was, just didn't care about people knowing he'd been there. The second break-in happened 3 months later, only this time the guy broke in at nighttime while we were all asleep. I had to get all this from my grandpa because understandably my mom hates talking about it. But the way he tells it, she basically woke up in the middle of the night and sensed a presence in the room with her. Not like a spirit or anything dumb like that, like an actual person. And then when she opened her eyes, there was someone standing next to her bed with something shining and shiny. A shiny Pokemon card, maybe? Brad Pitt! What's up, Brad? With the 10 buckarina says, I need to demand my job supply a company blanket, nap time, and animal crackers. That's why you got the union, you know? Tell them your ass is going on strike until you get yourself some circus animals with a little bit of frosting on it. And whenever they're like, what do you think you're doing? You say, sir, I'm going blanky mode. And then just stick your thumb in your mouth and put on some Let's Read. Thank you for the 10, Bradley. Bradley Pitt. Brad Pitt is 57. Yeah, Brad Pitt be looking good for literally, like, imagine, I don't know, that's just crazy to me. Looking that good. Cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon. Not like a spirit or anything dumb like that, like an actual person. Then, when she opened her eyes, there was someone standing next to her bed with something shiny in his hand. She told Grandpa she was literally frozen with terror, couldn't move, couldn't talk, literally petrified in the very sense of the word. Apparently the guy was mumbling something, but Mom couldn't remember exactly what. Then, by the time she started begging him not to hurt her, she couldn't hear anything at all. My sister remembers walking into her room, thinking that she was having a nightmare. She asked Mom if she was okay. Mom threw the covers from over her head, saw the guy was gone, then noticed the second floor window was open where the guy had used the same escape route. But she asked Mom if she was okay. Mom threw the covers from over her head, saw the guy was gone, then noticed the second floor window was open where the guy had used the same escape route as the first break-in. She put my little sister back to bed. I obviously have no memory of this because I was asleep. She called 911, then she called my grandpa. Grandpa said the cops found faint, muddy footprints all over the house, including in our bedrooms, so he'd obviously taken his time exploring the place before he'd woken my mom up. Only, this guy hadn't just been exploring. He'd been very, very busy, and it actually took us a few days to uncover all the bizarre little things he'd done, things which spoke to just how insane this person really was. The next day, when we noticed that the cat wouldn't touch her milk, Mom poured it out into the sink, thinking that it had gone sour, then got the distinct smell of bleach as she did so. She can't be certain, but she thinks the guy poured bleach into the cat's milk, wanting to kill it. Then there was the cracked empty eggs in the fridge. Not like cracked all the way, just little holes in the top with all the yolk and egg white missing. It's possible he just poured them down the sink, but Grandpa thinks the guy might have been sucking them raw. Not all that scary, I know, just freaky, you know? Mom says some meat was missing from the fridge too. Raw meat. But I know Grandpa used to feed our cat from the fridge too, so we can't rule that out. And a few days later, Grandpa came over in the evening for some dinner. Sucking him raw, the eggs. Suck my eggs raw, home intruder. Brad Pitt with 10 buccarinos. Exactly, bro. Thank you for helping me fall asleep so many nights. Sometimes the video will end and it wakes me up and I have to put on another one. Shit. I'm glad you can get some sleep, though. It is kind of weird. This is one guy I've told you guys about before, but the French whisperer. But there's something about listening to his voice where I just, like, even if I'm not tired, I just, like, pass out. And I'm like, oh, shit. This was the cure for insomnia the whole time. Great videos, but you should also tell personal stories, either scary or not, along with your videos you are making now. Like my own personal stories, or just random ones? A few days later, Grandpa came over in the evening for some dinner and offered to help prep for garbage day. He says one of the garbage cans spilled right as he got into the driveway, complained to my mom about tin cans in the garbage or whatever, then goes out to clean it up and finds what spilled it. Complains to my mom about tin cans in the garbage or whatever, and then goes on to clean up and finds what spilt it. Someone, presumably the guy who broke in, had thrown a pair of scissors in the trash, along with a clothing catalog. Anhi Torres with the 5 says, "Hey yo, Joel, can't stay for long for the stream, just wanted to stop by and support." Thank you, Anhi, it's always good to see you. How are you? And what do you think you're doing? Ah! Just kidding. Jose Flores, what's poppin'? Do some random ones. Like random stories unrelated to scary. Some of the ones that are funny are like the TIFU, the Today I Fucked Up ones. Those are pretty good. Someone, presumably the guy who broke in, had thrown a pair of scissors in the trash, along with a clothing catalog he'd been cutting up. He cut the heads off almost every single motto in that catalog, and the little paper heads were nowhere to be found. My grandpa thinks the guy took them as some kind of trophy, but who knows what he really did with them. Then there was the salt in my mom's work shoes, the knife missing from her knife block in the kitchen, obviously the shiny thing he'd been holding when she woke up at Yabba-dabba-doo. Yabba-dabba-doo. Yabba-dabba-doo-dabba-dabba-dibba-da. Then there was the salt in my mom's work shoes, the knife missing from her knife block in the kitchen, obviously the shiny thing he'd been holding when she woke up to him in her room. Anyways, the cops got plenty of fingerprints, but whoever it was didn't have a record, and other than the muddy boot prints they found, there was nothing much to go on. So to this day, no one's been arrested for it, but my grandpa thinks he knows who it was. Years later, after we moved apartments twice in a bid to avoid the guy, a friend of a distant relative ended up getting locked in some kind of psychiatric Years later, after we moved apartments twice in a bid to avoid the guy, a friend of a distant relative ended up getting locked up in some kind of psychiatric hospital. The guy had become obsessed with Alice in Wonderland, had all the books, multiple copies of them too, and all he ever talked about was the Looking Glass or Wonderland and all this stuff. It might just be a complete coincidence, but the thing is, that's my mom's name, Alice. She's over the whole thing now, like it's been more than 20 years since all of that, but I noted that I'm getting worse as we go. I'm Fred Flintstone. Yabba dabba motherfucking do, bitch. Sonia from the H with the 5 says, "My fiance Mike and I are listening to you while we fall asleep. Have a great night and have a great Thanksgiving, Joel." Thank you, Sonia. I hope you guys have a good holiday as well. I hope you guys are all making some delicious food to stuff your faces and your family with. Swamp Dweller says, "Cocoa Puffs were made by the government to control the masses." This is true. We all go cuckoo for them. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. She's over the whole thing now. It's been more than 20 years since all that, but I know that if she still doesn't like talking about it... Oh, I see. Sorry, I keep just thinking everything's a fucking typo. She's over the whole thing now. It's been more than 20 years since all of that, but I know that if she doesn't like talking about it, even today, it had to have messed her up for a while. One pill makes you taller. One pill makes you small. But the... What's the lyrics? I don't fucking remember. Oh, yeah, Alice put her in a box. Is this ASMR? It could be if you want it to be. If you try real hard, anything can be ASMR. Poopy poopy pants, poop your pants right now. Poop your fucking pants right now. Poop your pants. Poop them. Shit in your pants. Sorry. I'm caca for cuckoo puffs. The ones these, what is it? The one these the mother gives you. Oh, the ones these the mother gives you doesn't do anything at all. Oh, that's kind of like, what's it called? Remember in, It, the kid who was like the hypochondriac, she just like kept giving him pills that didn't do anything. And the ones that mother gives you don't do anything at all. Go ask Alice when she's 10 feet tall. Put the angry in ASMR. Jefferson Airplane. Yeah, did Jefferson Airplane make any other good songs beside that one? I also find that song really funny because it's not like it has like a chorus really or any like repetition. It's just like sort of like a linear progression, which I really like. And then it's over. You can play that on the bass. That's dope. Ooh la la, Andrea with a 2. Thank you, ooh la la. Ooh la la. So I think this is the last story of the night. Ooh, yes. The ones that mother gives you don't do anything at all.
Listen.
Just breathe in the mic for 20 minutes. It's a long time. It's a lot of breathing. What if I run out of breaths and I pass away? I don't want to use up all my breath. Just came home from a Black Veil Bribes concert. Time to wind down with some spooks. Let's go. Let's go. What is Black Veil Brides? Is that like heavy metal?
Mischievous dog.
Oh shit. Mischievous frog. Oh, there it is. Oh, Cheyenne Dory Bob with 26 months. Over 2 years. I've missed these streams so much. Hope you're doing it. Missed you, Cheyenne Dory Bob. That is a name I've not seen in quite some time. Well, welcome back. Good to see you. Good to have you. Also, Cheyenne, I don't know if you knew this, but there's bonus content in the playlist for members. So far, there's it's going to be once a month, normal length videos, but it's just going to be stuff that people aren't really used to hearing on the channel, like creepypastas, and I'm thinking this coming month will be paranormal stuff. But there's 2 videos out now that hopefully you enjoy now that you've been a member for quite some time. Figured I would give back to the community. Dragon Force. It's a rock band I listened to like years ago in middle school and high school grad now. Oh, nice. That's cool. See that they're on the road. They're on the road doing shows. I would become a member if I had money. That's alright. No worries. I'm not even sure, like, whenever I make the next, like, members only thing, if I should even put it in the community tab. Like, I feel like I should only just, like, talk about it during live streams so people know about it, because it seemed to have offended so many people in the community tab. Whoa, 666 people. What the fuck? That's crazy. I've only ever told 2 people this story. Mainly because I'm scared to, but also because I'm sort of complicit in the whole thing. Sometimes I feel that if I wasn't so cowardly, I'd have just gone to the police and the whole ordeal would have been over in less than 24 hours. But that's obviously not what happened, or I wouldn't even be writing this. By November of last year, the whole lockdown thing had me pretty miserable. I hated being stuck in some crummy little apartment, but after a while I realized this wasn't so much because I hated being stuck indoors. It was more that I just hated the apartment I was living in. So despite it being a terrible time to pack up and move apartments, I decided to look for a new place. I found a place I liked surprisingly quickly, and after a thorough virtual viewing that took place over FaceTime, I offered to put down a deposit. The landlady said I could move in on the first day of December, less than a week from the time I was calling her, and that they were just finishing off a few repairs. It sounded totally legitimate. The lady seemed cool, but when it came to me asking for the contact info of the former tenant just to get an idea of what I was in for, she told me she didn't have any contact details for him. I was like, huh? What? Well, how did you keep in touch with the guy? She got all flustered and gave me some excuses about having a new phone, which I stupidly swallowed whole because I wanted the apartment so badly. Then, like we agreed, I moved in on the 1st of December. Cut to the second week in the apartment. Everything is going awesomely. Electric bills were kinda high, but otherwise nothing to complain about. Then one night I'm literally just getting out of the shower when there's a knock at the door. I towel off a little, throw on a robe, walk to the door, and take a look through the peephole. No one. I see absolutely no one at all. Stupidly, I then open the door and look out into the hallway, and the next thing I know, there's a gun in my face, and holding it is a dude in a COVID mask. He and his buddies forced me back into the apartment, and the whole time I'm like, just take what you want. No one has to get hurt here. I'm cool if you're cool. But the weirdest thing happens. While one of the dudes keeps his gun on me, another one of them walks straight into my bedroom, almost like he knew exactly what he was looking for. One of his buddies follows, and I see this big old sledgehammer in his hand. I start asking what's going on, but the guy with the gun cuts me off and tells me to shut up. So I did. The front door is shut at this point. No one can see what's going on. No one's coming to help me. So I'm scared, but I'm also pretty curious too. That's when I hear these banging sounds coming from the bedroom, sounding exactly like one of them was demolishing some drywall. And as it turns out, that's exactly what they were doing. I hear a few more bangs before one of the guys shouts, "Yeah, boy, there it is, just like you said." And the next thing I know, the guys are reappearing with a dusty sports bag in their hand. A dusty sports bag? What the fuck is that? Kiera McCourt with 26 months as well, similar to Cheyenne Dory Bob there. That's crazy. Hope you're having a great Thanksgiving. Thank you for all you do. Love the bonus content. Thank you, Kiera. Yeah, it's nice checking the comments for people in the bonus content because you guys are just have the nicest things to say. So I really appreciate that. And thanks for being a member for over 2 years. Holy shit. The next thing I know, the guys are reappearing with a dusty sports bag in their hands. He unzips it and just sees rolls and rolls of dirty-looking dollar bills. Like there had to be at least $500,000 there, at least. The guy takes one of the rolls out, drops it on the floor in front of me, then says something like, "Get your wall fixed up, bruh, and keep the change. But don't tell no one we been here. Otherwise we come back. You heard me?" I just nod. Then they walk out, still wearing their masks, looking as nonchalant as can be. I was shaking way, way harder than I'm comfortable admitting. Let's just leave it at that. But when I picked up the roll of dirty hundreds and counted them out, there was $10,000 just staring me in the face. If you've never had that kind of cash or money on you, it makes you nervous. But I knew I'd be spending it pretty fast on getting my drywall fixed up, as well as other home improvements. The first being a big deadbolt on my apartment door. It's kind of sweet. I wish someone would break in and give me 10 grand. What the fuck? Are we talking pesos? I don't think so. All right, friendos. Time to finish this bad boy out. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. You guys gotta tell me something funny to say before we leave for the outro. Amalia with a 5. Good night, good night. Thank you, Amalia. Good to see you, as always. And remember, Grandpa thinks he sucked them raw. Yeah, what the fuck? What? Yeah, that is kind of weird. Like, why did Grandpa think that? Grandpa thinks he sucked them out. Grandpa thinks he sucked. That is fucking strange as shit. Like, why would that be like Grandpa's first theory? You know what I think, sweetheart? Like, and it's like her dad, so she's just like, okay, Grandpa, or Dad. Yeah, I'm sure he sucked the eggs raw. Yeah. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, Grandpa thinks he sucked them raw. Eggy Grandpa. Oh, shit. Well, guys, thank you for an amazing stream. This is always fun, always a good time. You guys were really, really nice tonight, as always, and super, super generous. So thank you guys for all the new memberships and donations, and I really appreciate that, as always. And I will be getting this edited, maybe not tonight, but tomorrow. Might try to reset my sleep tonight, I'm not sure. And get this early access on Patreon. And then I will have it up on YouTube. Same time, same place. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tomorrow's Monday. So 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, we're ending right at 666 viewers. How delightfully evil. But love you, friends. Appreciate ya. Yeah, you know what to do. Follow me on social media if you get bored. Sometimes I tweet out some bangers, but also it's just the best way to like keep up with new stuff that's coming. Twitter, Instagram. Still in talks with somebody about doing TikTok stuff, but I haven't really heard back from that yet, so we will figure it out as we go. But anyways, hope you have a good night. Oh, there's Pradeep. He knows it's ending. He'd like my attention now. But yeah, I'll catch you guys soon. Be well, sleep well, and don't let Grandpa suck your eggs raw. Haha, see ya.